we'll just have it play out through the legal proceeding. Simone Sanders on CNN, she's, one of Don Lemon's posse.
Yeah.
I think we need to see some of the evidence. I think it's very concerning that all of these leaks came from the Chicago Police Department. So, frankly, all we have is leaks from the Chicago Police Department. Now what they said in this press conference and what not what they said what they said in the press conference and what Jesse Smollett and his team have said. Zach Stafford, editor-in-chief of The Advocate. The police department did in 2016 openly through their union support Donald Trump. So to have a police department that hasn't been as cooperative as they have been in this round, do not openly give information, do openly lie, mishold information, good English, in cases, and then to know that they have openly supported Trump in the 2016 election. A lot of activists on the ground are saying, wait, what's going on here? Who do we believe out of these two suspect people? So, I mean, you still have the ideologues on the left, the race hustlers, the race racketeers, as our friend Bob Woodson calls them. They're still, dug in on this story.
I know, and I know why, because not to bring up my career on the street, but as a reporter, I have never seen police leak more information to reporters. I just have to tell you. I'm glad that they did it, but how that guy, Charlie, I don't even know his last name, from Channel 2, got inside the brother's house or their apartment. I mean, that was, I asked my friend to ask him, how did he have that access? Because the brothers, too, were wondering, why is the contents of my apartment being splashed all over CBS, which then they gave it to CNN, and then everybody else picked up that. I mean,
the media is.
Then there's a list of items they took that they inventoried that just happened to be laying on the couch. I don't know.
Well, you can't have it both ways. So the media and these race racketeers, on the one hand, they want everything released. And then when they don't want everything, and then depending on the person being targeted, now there's leaks as a problem. On the one hand, they live and die by leaks. On the other hand, now we're offended by leaks. So which is it?
Well, I think the local reporters that were able to get that information, good for them. It actually woke up local journalism, I think, that people are starting to carry and actually compete against each other again. 7 was competing against 5, competing against 2, and 2 was blowing all their butts away.
Yeah, actually, CWB Chicago.
And those are 5 guys that want to remain anonymous.
CWB Chicago,
they've got all the information.
They did the best reporting on this from beginning to end because, frankly, the Chicago Press Corps wasn't skeptical initially either, just as the D.C. Press Corps wasn't. And then they became skeptical. And you had a couple of reporters, Rafer Weigel at Fox Chicago
awesome.
And that Charlie DeMar guy at CBS, who did good work. And I'll recognize the good work. But they started out from Jesse Smollett's premise. Let's just, recall the history here. So don't go, breaking your back to applaud the Chicago Press Corps other than CWB Chicago, which is sort of a renegade press outlet.
We won't tell you who we are. It's 5 guys. That's all I know.
I love it. All right, Dan and Amy, we're coming to you from Signature Bank in Edison Park, and we're coming up to the news.
14 degrees at 5:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A Pennsylvania woman and her teenage daughter are accused of murdering 5 members of their family this morning, including 9-year-old twin girls. The bodies were found last night at an apartment complex about a half an hour northeast of the city of Philadelphia.
I wish I had better news to report, but this is important, so we wanted to come out here at this point and make sure that everybody knew that the people that committed these atrocious acts are now in custody and will be made to pay for their crimes.
The district attorney speaking moments ago near Philadelphia about that incident, which we will follow this morning here on AM 560. President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un opened their second summit in Hanoi this Wednesday. NBC's Bill Neely is there covering the story.
Kim has arrived after what must be the longest journey by any leader to any summit in about half a century, 2,500 miles by train.
When the president and Kim met in Singapore last June, they signed a vaguely worded agreement promising to work toward denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. This morning, we're monitoring situation on the India-Pakistan border where there are conflicting accounts of a major airstrike. India's agriculture minister this morning, saying his country's Air Force carried out an early morning airstrike, destroying what he called several terror camps in the disputed border region of Kashmir. Pakistani Air Force spokesperson says the Indian Air Force jets violated what's being called the line of control, the unofficial border of Kashmir. One of the Vatican's most senior cardinals is now accused of being a child sex abuser. Vatican Treasurer Cardinal George Pell actually has been found guilty of 5 child sex offenses in a cathedral in his home country of Australia. A court order yesterday prevented the verdict from being reported until late in the afternoon. Pell is the highest-ranking Vatican official to be convicted of child sexual abuse so far. Several hurt following a crash involving an ambulance on Chicago's north side early this morning. A legal challenge fails. Election day in Chicago. Polls open at 6 a.m., close at 7 p.m. 14 candidates running for mayor. Of course, you know, if no candidate reaches 50% of the vote, the top 2 finishers will face off April 2nd. There are also many other contests to look out for on your ballot. City clerk, city treasurer, and alderman in each of the city's 50 wards. 3 Kane County corrections officers are recovering after they were attacked by 2 inmates. Authorities say the incident happened yesterday at the Kane County Jail after the inmates refused commands from officers. Chicago sports, Chris Middleton, 22, helping the Bucks to a 117-106 win over the Bulls at the United Center last night. Spring baseball, Sox and Giants in a 4-all tie. Cubs later today welcome the Diamondbacks with Yu Darvish on the hill. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains what we're up against.
Within days, we reported on this show that it was very suspect, this whole report.
Beaten with a noose around his neck and hospitalized.
They're going to announce that he is an abomination. They lie because they don't even care about the truth.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the free Home and Garden Show this weekend only at the Tinley Park Convention Center. Find the ultimate in savings and convenience with thousands of the latest home products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home, inside and out. Get trusted advice on your upcoming projects as you speak with local and national experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. And be sure to attend the free expert seminars and live cooking shows all weekend. See quality indoor and outdoor furniture, amazing deals on mattresses and adjustable beds, the latest appliances by Grand, and so much more. Plus, don't miss the huge plant sale by Ted's Greenhouse. And test drive the new Transit Connect by Ford right from the show. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor, you'll find it all at the huge Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center on Harlem Avenue north of I-80 with free admission and parking. For details, visit tinleyparkshow.com. That's tinleyparkshow.com.
Oh, hey.
Hey, did you hear? My friend's company was the victim of an email impersonation attack.
It's a serious threat to every business.
What if cybercriminals target us and trick accounting into making a wire transfer?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda.
So we're secured?
Yeah. Barracuda uses artificial intelligence to detect and block spear phishing and account takeover attempts.
What a relief.
Don't become a victim. Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda. Your journey secured.
Hi, I'm Mike Ditka. On the field, they called me Iron Mike. But some days, even Iron Mike can feel a little rusty. So I turned to Blue Emu. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep for big-time comfort. And more importantly, it doesn't leave me smelling like a locker room. Now, if you excuse me, I have some yelling to do. You hit like old men. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
5:38. Let's check the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
On Chicago's west side, a crash is reported on Rice at Campbell. Bedford Park, there's a collision reported. 65th and Keeler. Inbound Eisenhower traffic is getting congested around Des Plaines Avenue. The inbound Stevenson, we see delays. First between Pulaski and Kedzie, then from Ashland to the Ryan. 36 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5 to 34. Ryan heavy from 18th to the Burns Circle, 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57's okay. Bishop Ford in 18 minutes, 80-94 to Ryan. No problem to report on the area Illinois tollways. I-80 is good, 80-94 as well. The Indiana Toll Road is clear now. So is I-65. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, cloudy, cold, occasional snow and flurries. Mainly later in the day, high 26 and more snow overnight, a coating to an inch. 13 at O'Hare, 18 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, coming to you live from Signature Bank at Edison Park. We're kicking off our Signature Bank Business Tour, 3rd annual. Today, Election Day. Polls open in T-minus 20 minutes. R. Kelly's got out just in time to vote in the mayoral election, so good on him.
Soon.
R. Kelly made his $100,000 bond yesterday and immediately went over to the old rock and roll McDonald's and then Biggs for a cigar.
Did he really go over there?
Yeah.
Oh, that was his first thing? His first meal after getting out of prison?
His entourage reconnected with him, and they went over to McDonald's, and then he went over to have a cigar at Biggs, which is another reason why I'm not a member at Biggs.
Well, he'll be back in court today because there's a civil action against him from his ex-wife. She's seeking $162,000 and back child support pay, so that happens today. I don't know if he's going to show up or if his attorney will show up on his behalf.
So, so R. Kelly, another interesting Chicago story as part of the backdrop of this election. And again, one of the questions that's being asked, and I was on a conference call with some people from around the country yesterday after our show. And one of the things they asked is the same thing I asked. They were looking to me for insight because I'm in Chicago, except I don't have any. The obvious question, what took you so long?
To charge him?
Yeah.
It was Surviving R. Kelly. It was that Lifetime 6-series program that changed everything.
So do we need a television series to profile serial predators in order for them to be brought to justice in Chicago? That's the thing that's confusing. Right. Do you remember when he married Aaliyah when she was 15 years old? Do you remember the 2008 trial for which he was acquitted? Yes, but I wouldn't say that was without controversy. Do you remember Chappelle's Show parodies suggesting what everybody knew about R. Kelly, that he was a reprobate and a predator? And all of the stories, including from neighbors who have buildings by his studio, of young girls being dropped off and picked up from his place.
I know girls from Oak Park River Forest who were going to his house as teenage 15, 16-year-old girls. So when Kim Fox came forward 2 months ago, I think it was, and said, if you've been victimized by him or know somebody who has, please come forward because he needs to be stopped. But why didn't they proactively go and investigate? And that's what bothers me, and that's what bothers one of the victims, one of the survivors. Her name's Al Martinez, and she was there yesterday in court.
The years of him preying on young women have gone on for far too long. Robert Sylvester Kelly must be held accountable for the many lives he has ruined.
Well,
and Michael Avenatti, who's representing two of the girls and two of their parents, he came from. I mean, he's a scumbag too. Didn't he beat up? Why isn't he behind bars for allegedly beating up his girlfriend in L.A.? Remember that? That wasn't too long ago.
I don't know. I don't know why people get TV lawyers to represent them in serious matters. But
basically, he released another sex tape from another 14-year-old girl yesterday.
The 10 charges of sex abuse that R. Kelly's facing, again, they date back 20 years, starting in 1998. And remember, there's no statute of limitations on sexual abuse charges in this state. So that's why that's not an issue. But 1998. So again, Kim Foxx, the Chicago Democrat power structure, Cook County Democrat power structure. Where's everybody been? It's the same thing.
Dragging their heels. They drag their heels with, the false police report for Proco Joe Moreno. Oh, he's up for re-election today, too. I hope the people in his ward make the right decision.
Yeah, vote for the
banana guy.
Vote for
with
Mr.
his
Banana.
monkey friends.
Yeah, Mr. Banana and his monkey friends, which was the name of your high school band.
Exactly.
So there's R. Kelly.
Well, his brother. Oh, real quick, I just wanted to, his brother is very concerned about his safety.
If he goes to jail and these charges stick, he needs to be watched like on suicide watch.
Yeah. So take that back. If he might kill himself if he goes to jail.
Okay. Well, we'll take the shoelaces away. No, it's fine. He should be in a cage for the rest of his life.
No blankets for you. Okay.
If he's convicted, he should be in, and I think he will be, because I think he's guilty.
Yeah.
But we'll let the process play out and all that jazz. He should. This is somebody who is a serial predator for his entire adult life.
And even if he escapes one, sex tape, then he's still recording, and the quality of the video from the first video that was released back in the late 90s is a little better, so people know that it is him on that tape. Because that was what the jury said, that they couldn't convict because they weren't 100% sure that it was him on the tape and that it was an underage girl.
Yeah, the glove didn't fit and all that.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, though, Kim Foxx has 2 very high-profile cases that she best win. Otherwise, her meteoric political rise is going to come crashing down, I suggest. So let's move from R. Kelly to R. Kraft.
Hey-o.
R. Kraft, some new information on him per this affidavit that Olivia Hitchcock locally there in the Palm Beach Post reported. Kraft visited the Orchids of Asia Day Spa.
Isn't that an Orchids of Asia plant behind you there? I noticed that.
Unrelated.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Bank is an establishment that's on the up and up. Orchids of Asia Day Spa, January 19th and 20th this year, which includes, and they have video surveillance in both visits. Even
Do you want to read it in your sexy voice?
No.
The affidavit.
There's nothing sexy about that. Kraft, again, he also is protesting his innocence. But January 20th?
What happened January 20th, Dan?
That was the day the Patriots beat the Chiefs for the AFC Championship.
So what he did, he went the 19th, this is what police said, and according to the affidavit, went to the 19th, gave the girl a hug. He got dropped off by somebody driving a 2015 blue Bentley, and just in case you care, walked into the establishment in the strip mall, gave the woman a hug. An undisclosed amount of money was recorded in that transaction. They went back to the room. He took off all his clothes. He gave her a hug again. He laid on the bed on his back.
Thank you for putting us in the room. What are you talking about?
He was done in 9 minutes, and then there's towels. Okay,
geez.
Well, this is what
honestly.
Happened. And then he gets on it. Then he hugs her again.
We can use our imaginations as to what happened.
Well, then he gets on a plane.
Don't leave anything out.
Flies. I think her name was Bambi. Flies on a private jet to Kissimmee, watches a game, flies back, and returned within 17 hours to the same spa. And we do believe the same girl. This time he was dropped off by somebody driving a white-colored Bentley. And the same thing happened, but you can see the $100 bill being exchanged. I'm just saying he went back 17 hours later and snuck in an AFC championship game in the middle.
He's a return customer.
I know. 77 years old.
Yeah, it's brand loyalty. So Bob Kraft is in a bit of a pickle.
What's going to happen to him? I mean, he's got to play first-time offenders. He's got to go. This is the best. He has to go to a diversion program where they learn about the dangers of prostitution and how they're often tied to human trafficking, that's a very serious matter. But he also has to perform 100 hours of community service.
Well, he doesn't have to do anything yet because the case hasn't been adjudicated. Okay. He could just, pay a fine. He may be let off paying a fine and walk away from it. I don't know.
Because he's old? No. What is he going to do? Pick up trash on the side of the road for your community service?
I mean,
Bobby forgot one back here.
It'll be interesting because celebrities, it can go a couple of different ways, right? Celebrities can often use their status to get a different form different level of justice. In other words, they get better treatment than the average Joe. Sometimes those celebrities are going to be made an example of, where if this was an anonymous John, he could get off with a fine, but because it's Bob Kraft and the whole world is watching, they're more likely to go for the max. So we'll see. But remember yesterday when I said, you know where this is going to go? Oh, well, let's just address all of this. Legalize prostitution.
Oh.
Legalize prostitution, let priests marry, and all of these, sexual incidents of sexual misconduct will magically disappear. Well, local legislators, New York City, New York State, I should say they're going to introduce a bill decriminalizing sex work. State senators, a handful of state senators and assemblymen plan to introduce a bill to repeal statutes in New York State, that criminalize consensual sex work, creating a system to erase prostitution records as well. So Bob Kraft may relocate to New York if that's passed. And what do you think about that? Trying to stop adult sex work shouldn't be the business of the criminal justice system, said the New York assemblyman. Throughout history, it hasn't worked, and it makes things worse. Decriminalizing adult sex work is harm reduction. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Well,
I do not want to see prostitution legalized ever. And,
why?
And what Bob Kraft did, that's which makes me mad. He fed into the whole human trafficking business, probably unbeknownst to him, but these girls were ripped from their homes in China and a few in Vietnam, and were taken to this place where they were forced to sleep on the massage table beds and had no access to leave. And also were making, when the cops they first arrived, they were making food. They didn't have a kitchen, so they're making food on the back steps.
And the libertines among us and the libertarians, and those are often synonyms, would argue, well, that's the way you avoid those sorts of things. You bring it out of the black market into the legitimate stream of commerce, and you eliminate the need for such trafficking because you have open competition under a legal framework. And so happy day, literally.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. I don't think that's the solution to the problem.
Why? What
I see what you're saying.
What is it that rubs you wrong about?
Oh, you guys got all up in arms when I was reading the affidavit. So, no, that's not in a world that I want to live in. If you want that, you can go to the red light district in Amsterdam, or there's some spots in Vegas I could show you too. But it's not, I mean, I know prostitution's the oldest occupation in the world for women, but we've kind of evolved since then.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
It's also worth noting it's one of these moments where we remember the differences between men and women. Not the oldest profession in the world for men.
No,
not the same level of demand. It's interesting. Gosh, I wonder
you know what
what's
happened
at play
to the
there.
Swedish women when they first came to America? They were house cleaners, but with a little extra. So the Queen had somebody come here to Chicago to make sure that we weren't in charge of housekeeping duties anymore. It's a true story. And so then we gave it to the Polish community, and then that's how that happened.
You handed over, the Swedes handed over the house cleaning racket to the Polish
businesses,
community.
Yeah, it was legitimate businesses, but there was some nefarious activity going on, and they didn't want that reputation for Swedish American women.
And where does that water tower, that Swedish water tower, come in all this? How is that? All right, there is your minute of European history from Amy Jacobson.
True. Not a proud moment, but it's what happened.
Oh, boy.
Let's just go to the phone lines, shall we?
We need a cleansing breath. Candace in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You guys are funny this morning. Okay, from an economics perspective on legalizing, if you legalize it, then the girls are going to make less money. Okay, the second thing is, I think that DNC seems to be doing a whole heck of a lot to help cartels out, and particularly trafficking. I mean, look at all these inane laws that they're doing. First sanctuary, then, letting criminals go. Now, making prostitution legal. It just seems like one after another, they're just trying to make us into a third world, despot. What do you guys think?
Thanks for the call, Candace. I think there is this a cultural problem where we've sort of careened into nihilism. And I mean, I'm waiting for somebody to make the moral argument and even a legal argument against prostitution, a societal argument, a social normative argument. It's amazing to me I can't get anybody to do it.
Well, I think
I'm trying to resist the temptation to do it myself because I want to hear somebody make it.
The prosecutor in the case yesterday.
These cases aren't about any one defendant or any group of defendants. The larger picture, which we must all confront, is the cold reality that many prostitutes in cases like this are themselves victims.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. So, okay. I mean, do you have any? I mean, especially you're a woman.
I am.
Do you have, other than giving us your Zaggett's guide to red light districts? Do you have anything to add on this?
No, there's reason why prostitution is not legal because it's objectifying women. It's not fair. They're being held hostage. It's not a life that they want to live. All those girls that they've taken from their homeland, they're sex trafficking, and we have to stop it. And that's one of the reasons why President Trump wants to build his wall. Because a lot of girls are coming in illegally through our southern border. And the only reason why I know that Congressman Adam Kinzinger just got back from a 2-week stint with the Wisconsin National Guard down there, and he said that he saw sex trafficking going on, and he saw a lot of illegal drugs, and then, of course, people coming over the border
this
illegally.
just in human trafficking and drug trafficking at the border. Breaking news. I guess it's news to some members of Congress. But I'm going to refuse at least for one more day. And this, as we discuss this Kraft case, unless I do my 60 seconds of sanity.
Maybe
today.
you should do your 60 seconds of sanity.
I want to hear somebody make the argument. It's remarkable to me how blasé people are about the legalization of depravity, one after the other.
So if you're going to legalize marijuana, eventually they should legalize prostitution.
Tim in Crown Point, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, what would be the difference between the sex work and then actual porn? Because we all know that it's one of the biggest industries in the United States already, so I don't see how it's too far off from that. If one's legal.
Right. Right. Okay. Thanks for the call, Tim. But, I guess, strip joints are probably a better approximation to say, well, they're legal, so why not prostitution? Is that the consensus opinion? Everybody just thinks, I don't know, prostitution should be legal because other bad behavior is legal, and these are adults, and it's consensual. Is that what people think? It's fascinating to me, particularly against the backdrop of talking about R. Kelly, much less R. Kraft. We'll pick it up later in the show. This is Dan and Amy coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. See website for details.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text TRY to 350-350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text TRY to 350-350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's TRY to 350-350.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Polls are open in 30 seconds, at least some places. And so we'll talk a little Chicago mayor's race, and we'll talk more AOC pronouncements at 6:06.
But first, let's head straight into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A bus driver charged following a Gary crash that injured 5. Election day in the city of Chicago, and R. Kelly released. Cloudy and cold with occasional snow in your forecast. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
President Trump's still en route to Vietnam. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He's flying there. Kim Jong-un took the train to Vietnam for their second summit.
There's almost a carnival atmosphere here, with American, North Korean and Vietnamese flags hanging from lampposts. People lined the streets as Kim Jong-un's motorcade rolled into town earlier. And street traders are selling T-shirts featuring President Trump and Kim's faces. When the leaders meet, the big question will be the same posed at their first summit last year, whether North Korea is ready to abandon its nuclear weapons program. In Hanoi, Simon Owen, Fox News.
While the president's away, ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen will spend the next 3 days on Capitol Hill facing a lot of questions. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave Cohen will go behind closed doors today with the Senate Intelligence Committee. The big day is tomorrow when he testifies publicly before the House Oversight Committee. Watch for Democrats to grill Cohen about hush money paid to women before the 2016 election and about President Trump's financial dealings. Republican Senator John Kennedy says Cohen lacks credibility.
President Trump isn't testifying, and that's a whole separate issue. Michael Cohen is. And he's lied to Congress once.
The Wall Street Journal reports Cohen will testify the president committed crimes while in office. Dave.
Now, Rachel, House Democrats plan to vote on a resolution today to block his national emergency declaration. Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the president's attempt to reallocate money to build more wall at the border
fundamentally violates the balance of power envisioned by our founders.
A second Republican senator now says he'll support the resolution as well. Tom Tillis says he cannot endorse a precedent that future left-wing presidents would exploit. 5 people found dead in a suburban Philadelphia apartment, all from the same family, 3 of them kids.
The people that committed these atrocious acts are now in custody and will be made to pay for their crime.
Bucks County DA Matthew Weintraub says the mother of 2 of the victims and her daughter will be charged with murder. This is Fox News. 13 degrees, 6:02 is our time. On AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several hurt following a crash this morning involving an ambulance on the north side. It happened in the 2900 block of West Granville, and police tell us an SUV struck an ambulance transporting a patient with its emergency lights on early this morning. Both drivers, a police officer and a patient, have been hospitalized. A bus driver charged with driving while intoxicated following a crash in Gary, Indiana that injured 5. State police say a bus owned by the Jesus Saves Missionary Baptist Church in Gary was returning from a Bulls game last night when it veered off the Indiana Toll Road and crashed into an embankment near Klein Avenue. The bus driver, Wilton Carr, has been booked into the Lake County Jail in Crown Point. Election day in Chicago. Polls open at 6 a.m., close at 7 p.m. 14 candidates running for mayor, contest for city clerk, city treasurer, and alderman in each of the 50 wards as well. Jill Morgenthaler, a retired Army colonel
who was Illinois' Homeland Security chief under disgraced former Governor Rod Blagojevich, and a 2008 Democrat challenger to U.S. Representative Peter Roskam, has died while on a scuba trip in the Dominican Republic. The Sun-Times first to report that those on the boat say she had finished the scuba dive and was on the boat when she said she didn't feel well and fainted. Efforts to revive her failed. Ms. Morgenthaler had a pulmonary embolism about 15 years ago, according to her daughter, who suspects that may be what happened while she was diving. No one is in custody following a 17-year-old boy being shot and killed near a Chicago high school. It happened in the 4400 block of West Addison Street. The shooting took place a short distance from Schurz High School on the northwest side. Bucks over the Bulls, 117-106. Blackhawks goalie Corey Crawford is back after missing 28 games with a concussion. The news service of Maaco: you might not be able to get into a new car with your tax refund, but you can make your car feel like it's brand new. All it needs is a great paint job. Come into Maaco today and get your dream paint job during their tax season sales event. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity says this is not the same Democratic Party.
This is now a radical extreme party that wants to nationalize pretty much every aspect of our economy. This party is so out of touch. This is a new, radical, extreme Democratic Socialist Party.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer. A good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man, at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time, so you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Want to recharge when you travel for business? Get a boost and stay at La Quinta by Wyndham. You can charge 5 devices in-room and recharge yourself with a pillow top mattress and a bright side breakfast. Book now at lq.com and win at business.
It is 6:08. Let's check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
We have a small number of flight cancellations reported at O'Hare this morning, also 2 at Midway. Matra has an early morning delay on the Rock Island line. Eden's Expressway traffic sailing along without delay. In Mount Kennedy, tight Canfield to Central. 23 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 22, traffic's a bit tight on westbound 190. Kennedy to Manheim. Inbound Eisenhower, 32 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the Merge Bishop, 432. It's a stall at 130th, blocking a center lane. Tollways are fine. No delays to report on I-80 or Northwest Indiana. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and cold, snow and flurries, mainly later, accumulating a coating to an inch today, high 26. Snow at times tonight, a coating to an inch, low 22. Snow tomorrow morning, little or no accumulation, otherwise cloudy, high 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
It is 13 at O'Hare, 18 along Chicago's lakefront, and your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park, kicking off our Signature Bank Business Tour, 3rd annual. And
if you're in the area, stop on by.
Absolutely, yeah. Bring something, obviously. You don't come empty-handed. Well, you're coming to somebody's...
No, we can give them. We have some muffins and orange juice and coffee.
We can give them something if they give us something.
Oh, okay.
That's an exchange.
Oh, that's how this works.
We do mutually beneficial exchanges here because we're capitalists.
But we're in Edison Park there on Devon.
That's right. So stop on by. We had Officer Tim, who works in the 19th, stopped in earlier, so that was a good way to start the day.
Now we
talk to him.
CTA Blue Line Police.
Speaking of which, polls are open.
All right.
So who you's going to vote for? Big labor, big finance, or big upset? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line.
It's just amazing to me. $28 million was spent on this election. And most of it, of course,
what is amazing about that? I mean, J.B. Pritzker was spending $28 million a month in the governor's race.
Well, that was the governor's race. This is the mayoral race. Bill Daley has the most, 8.6 million. Tony in second with 4.4. Gary Chico and on. But money raised outside of Illinois, $4.6 million. So people have interest in Chicago, and people have a say. That's how they have a say in our mayoral election.
People have friends outside of Chicago.
They do.
That's what that is. The Bill Daley's kleptocrats and labor unions that want to support the blue model of governance because it's going so well in the city.
Yeah, but let us know if there's any problems at the polls, if there's any lines. If there aren't any lines, we're here all morning, 312-642-5600. When are you going to vote? After the show?
Whenever I meander downtown. Because my building's a polling place, so it's pretty convenient.
How easy. You can take Hayek with you, huh?
I could take Hayek to vote with me. Yeah, I could. I could have Hayek vote.
Exactly.
Both of us, we vote together. It'd be his first election, first vote.
It'd be so special. You can tweet it out, a picture.
Same day registration, so I could register him on the spot and vote. Interesting data points. We'll talk to Willie Wilson at the bottom of the hour for his closing argument. But I don't know if you talked about this when I was on sabbatical last week. But great story, important story from NPR, WBEZ, local NPR, about the disappearance of the middle class in Chicago. This map is really interesting. I tweeted it out, so you can check it out. But The middle class is shrinking everywhere. In Chicago, it's almost gone.
I'm sure.
Really, really interesting. They compare, or they show essentially the trajectory of middle-income families from 1970 to 2017. And the upshot is really interesting. This is, by the way, UIC's research, University of Illinois Chicago's research. Half the city was middle income in 1970, including large swaths on every side of town. Today, just 16% of the city's 797 census tracts are considered middle income. Those middle income mostly confined to the corners of the city, thin strips between areas of wealth and poverty. Middle income, what's middle income mean, right? Good question. Average per capita income to be in the middle income census tract between 28 and 43 grand.
That's middle income?
Per capita.
Okay.
Right. The median household income in Chicago Metro is about 68 grand, a fraction of the median household income for public sector working families. But I digress. And so this is just really interesting, the distribution of what's happened in terms of middle income versus upper. What you've seen happen in the city is essentially the top tier, the top quintile, if you will, has tripled, and the bottom has increased by a factor of 3, and the middle has, as you've heard, declined to 16%. 16% of the city's 797 census tracts, from nearly half to 16%. So it's dropped by a factor of 3. So it's what I've been saying for a long time here as we've watched this exodus, particularly over the last 10 years. Chicago and the entire state is becoming San Francisco. Very wealthy people, insulated from terrible public policy, the Champagne Socialists. Poor people, the beneficiaries of transfer payments, and not very much in between, because those people can't make it make sense to be here.
Well, it doesn't make sense, because you could save so much money a year without paying property taxes in Illinois if you went to Indiana or, Wisconsin, they're a little bit higher, but that's what's killing a lot of the middle class. I told you yesterday, I have a neighbor who, because of the property taxes, is turning a Sprinter van into like a tiny house so that they could sell their house and then he could live in the van.
Down by the river?
No, not down by but just to avoid paying whatever he pays in property taxes.
Right. You can't catch me, Cook County Assessor's Office. I'm on the move.
I'll still be living on the street, but I'll be living in a Sprinter van.
That's truly a mobile home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the van
costs $150,000, and then he has to soup it up and put in the shower and the kitchen and the bed. But that's, isn't it insane what it's come to? Well, but wait till people do their property taxes and you cap out at $10,000, then it's really going to hit home.
No, there's no question about it.
I read Stephen Moore, and he said he's the one who came up with that idea. And so I'm never talking to Stephen Moore again.
Well,
our relationship's over.
The high tax blue states, are they being punished? Yeah.
Yeah. He flat out said it. He said, and it was my idea.
So the way to avoid punishment is to do
what? Buy a van and live down by the river.
Well, that's one way. Another way is for
public
policymakers to say, well, maybe we should reduce the taxes and the size and scope and expense of government. Maybe a city that has a third more retahirees than they do city workers, maybe that doesn't work.
Yeah,
maybe that is unfinanceable.
Is a lopsided model.
Maybe, for example, the city colleges, paying taxpayers paying through the city colleges $320,000 per city college graduate. Maybe that deserves a little bit of scrutiny. Maybe the city colleges could go for a little retooling.
I think so. Oh, my gosh.
City colleges of Chicago. I don't talk about this very much, but this is where a lot of CPS students, the fraction of CPS students going on to post-secondary education go. It's worth noting. City colleges, it's got a $500 million budget, $523 million budget. It's considering a 2% annual tuition increase over the next 4 years, despite tumbling enrollment and questions about its graduation numbers. The tuition at the 7-school community college system has already gone up 9% over the last 4 years. All the while, enrollment has plummeted by a third since 2010. So here we go again. It's just like we talk about K through 12 education, and this explains your property taxes and how your homes are being liquidated. Enrollment going down prices going up. It's a model that, well, I mean, I understand. Look, the laws of economics don't apply in Chicago. I get it. But yeah, so, and this has been reported on by the Better Government Association, among others. July of 2018, Tiny Dancer said graduation rate was up to 23%, climbing from a low of 7% in 2011.
That was their graduation rate?
Yeah. That assessment was inflated because it didn't concur with normal time graduation rates, which assumes a full-time student at a 2-year school normally would graduate in how many years?
2.
2, right. But it was 7% that graduated within 2 years, according to U.S. DOE numbers 2014-2015. So that's a subsidy of $320,000 per city college graduate. $320,000. Let's go right down the list. Harold Washington, $415,000 per graduate. Harry Truman, $614,000 per graduate from these 2-year community colleges. Kennedy King, $340,000. Malcolm X, $761,000. Olive Harvey, $706,000. Richard J. Daley, $91,000. Wilbur Wright, $393,000.
That's ridiculous.
Anybody talk about that? Anybody care? No, I know. Craig in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan and Amy, I'd say the selection of our next mayor kind of thing, Willie Wilson is probably the best we can do. He'll bring in that, I think to some degree, the Trump effect and kind of bust up that political infrastructure that all these high rollers got going and do a little damage there and maybe do some good things there. He's a pretty decent guy out of a bunch of rats, especially like a guy like Gary McCarthy, who's a real snake, really. Man, you got to go back and see him, how he's a real lefty kind of guy that wants to take away he loves to see a lot of gun violence by taking away the guns from the law-abiding citizens and leaving all hell break loose with the criminals. So
right,
that's what I got to say about him.
All right, thanks for the call, Greg. That's a vote for Willie Wilson. There you go.
I heard he's going to support Paul Vallis in that conversation.
Yes. You are a perfect Chicago resident hearing what she wants to hear. It's very, very good. So one vote for Willie. Take your calls through on 642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. Make your case for your, as Craig would say, rat of choice in today's primary election. Dan and Amy coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park, kicking off our Signature Bank business tour.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. As a business owner, I realize the importance of keeping my employees safe, and I'm here to offer my expertise. Vans Industrial is a specialty contractor uniquely equipped to design, fabricate, and install safety equipment, including walkways, handrails, stairways, and machinery guards. Our Vans Industrial team can inspect existing systems, engineer solutions, fabricate quality goods, and install them with trained pros, all making a safer environment for your employees.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
If you're looking to refinance your existing home, then you need to call Team Hochberg. Ben, he's been hearing Team Hochberg's ads for years, so naturally he called Team Hochberg to refinance. Oh, no, he didn't. Ben called his current lender, Bank of America, who quoted Ben a higher rate and closing costs $4,000 greater than Team Hochberg's. Needless to say, Team Hochberg and not Bank of America is refinancing Ben's home. And there's some breaking news. Your current lender is a business trying to make as much money as possible, not your friend. So Team Hochberg's offers lower rates and closing costs because they don't have multi-layers of expensive overhead as banks do. To ensure you secure the lowest rate and closing costs, do yourself a favor, call Team Hochberg before refinancing with your current lender. Now, if you want to work with a trusted local lender, call Team Hochberg now. The new number is 855-56-DAVID. Or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 676-10119, NMLS 1124061.
The following is a paid political announcement.
A lot of deals have been the Chicago way of doing business. I've never been tied to Chicago political machine. As your next mayor, I propose a citizen review board made up of citizens, law enforcement, city officials that will review the inner workings of City Hall on a quarterly basis. This open-door policy will clean up the old corrupt ways and turn City Hall into the People's Hall.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for mayor.
The quivers, the shivers, goosebumps. That's what our customers say before 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning repairs their furnace. Call us. We'll fix it right, stand by our work, and give you our straightforward pricing, which means no hourly charges. How's that for goosebumps? Right now, get big savings on any heating repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Oh, like it or not, it's cold and flu season in Chicago, and just look around the office. People are coughing and sneezing and wheezing. And if you want to avoid getting sick, then you know that you need to give your immune system a boost. And a great way to do that is with the fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature. Look, we're all busy, and it's hard to get enough fruits and veggies in your diet. And that is where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies in a capsule to boost your immune system all winter long. You have heard the testimonials on the air, and I can tell you that I've spent time with Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. He showed me the emails, played the voicemails from real people who use Balance of Nature to get healthier and stay healthy. That should be you. Don't wait another day. Try it now before you get sick. And you can get 35% off your order by using promo code Chicago. Go to balanceofnature.com, type Chicago in that promo code for 35% off your first set of fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature.
The most popular days to get engaged are Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day. And guys, finding the perfect wedding venue can be harder to figure out than the color and quality of the perfect diamond. With love in the air, Avante Banquets is here to help you plan the wedding of your dreams for the party of a lifetime at a price right for you. Avante Banquets is part of the family-owned Chicago Prime Restaurants, with a picturesque location opened just last year near Barrington, providing fine American dining and a timeless experience. Avante is an exceptional space for your wedding or corporate events and fundraisers, for an intimate gathering, or parties of 500 or more. The calendar is filling up, so secure your date today at AvanteBanquets.com. That's AVANTE Banquets.com. With wedding packages starting at just $39 a person. Experience exceptional hospitality with the Calcunos family at Avante Banquets, because classic never goes out of style. AvanteBanquets.com. AvanteBanquets.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy coming to you live from Signature Bank. We're kicking off our AM 560 Signature Bank business tour this morning, and AOC is anti-GDP and pro-ZPG.
Okay. Okay, acronym man.
Well,
lay it out for me. Help me out.
She's anti-GDP growth, gross domestic
Yes,
product. She's
got that.
pro-ZPG, zero population growth. So she's anti-growth across
Right.
the board. At least she's consistent.
Wasn't she asking if she should get pregnant or something?
Well, she was openly questioning whether people should have kids, since the world's going to end. And so she's in her kitchen making like sweet potato slices or something. What's with all these female politicians in the kitchen? All these leftists, Elizabeth Warren, Elizabeth Warren,
she was
Kristen
drinking a beer.
Gillibrand,
Yeah.
AOC. I thought the whole thing was to get them out of the kitchen.
No, they want to. They're just like me and you, Dan.
They
well,
are?
not like you, but more like me. We're in the kitchen preparing food for the family. Even though we work, we do that too.
Even though she doesn't have a family,
Oh,
and
that's
she's
right.
not going to have a family because the world's going to end. This is remarkable. Here's AOC. We'll lead up to the money clip. Just
with her sweet potato pie.
riffing on the GND and DI-FI.
Yeah, everyone, I'm making chili. Someone said, please explain the Green New Deal. Thank you for asking.
She's a regular.
So the whole premise
It's like you're in the
of the Green New Deal
massage parlor with Bob Kraft.
is that we're screwed on climate. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you. If we do nothing, there is no hope. Period. That's just a principle across the board. If we do not act, there is no hope. The only time we can hope is when we act. But when it comes to climate in particular, we're actually screwed. There is a global threat to the planet. A global threat. And at this point, we don't even have to prove it. Just walk outside in winter in a lot of places, and it's either way worse than you're used to or way warmer than you're used to. Hurricanes, storms, wildfires. We are dying now.
Oh my God, what her apocalyptic statement.
Yeah, I
please.
mean, not exactly Cormac McCarthy in terms of the apocalyptic prose, but, you get the point. This is all over, so enjoy that chili. It'll probably be your last fracking meal.
Coming up on
40 years, and we've never addressed it. In fact, the issue's gotten worse. So I don't think that working on an issue for 30 years alone is what qualifies.
And that was the response to Di-Fi and the exchange Di-Fi had with the grade schoolers over the weekend.
We played that yesterday. That was spectacular.
Yeah, they were scolding each other, like 12-year-old scolding this 85-year-old senator and her scolding right back. And now AOC is interceded on behalf of the 12-year-olds because she is one of them.
Right.
And then, of course, she finishes up with the chili. Yeah.
Oh, good. So she prepared the meal.
Yeah, you can sprinkle a little some shredded cheese on top.
Yeah, maybe some sour cream on the side.
And then while you're enjoying the chili, remember, don't have kids.
Our planet is going to face disaster if we don't turn this ship around. And so it's basically like there's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. Is it okay to still have children? And I mean, not just financially, because people are graduating with $20,000, $30,000, $100,000 worth of student loan debt. And so they can't even afford to have kids in a house, but also just this basic moral question, like, what do we do? And even if you don't have kids, there are still children here in the world, and we have a moral obligation to them, to leave a better world for them. And
Yeah. It's immoral to have kids, but it's immoral not to do something about the climate to protect the kids that are in existence now. That
Don't
made it
forget
out
about the
just in
student
time.
loans. Don't have kids because they're costly and they're going to have high student loans upon graduation.
I mean, I wish people, I don't know, had some even like recent historical perspective. We've gone through this before. Paul Ehrlich wrote the book, The Population Bomb. That was a dud. He lost the bet to Julian Simon about what was the coming starvation. And this was back in the 60s into the 70s when we were facing a new ice age. That was the apocalyptic environmental scare story of that generation. And now we're just doing it all over again with this dingbat leading the charge. We'll have more from her fellow travelers, comrades Bernie and Jane, who are coming to Chicago a little bit later in the show. But coming up at 6:36,
it's your guy.
We got Willie Wilson to make his closing argument for mayor on this election day.
But first, let's head straight back into the newsroom. And hello once again to Mike Scott.
13 degrees at 6:32. It's election day in Chicago. Polls open up at 6 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. 14 candidates running for mayor. Voters will also decide contests for city clerk, treasurer, and alderman. President Trump should be arriving in Hanoi soon, where he and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will meet for their second summit. NBC's Susan McGinnis was on hand when Kim's train pulled into a rail station.
The president will try to sell Kim on a bright future for North Korea, painting the region as a potential economic powerhouse if it gives up its nuclear ambition.
Kim receiving a red carpet welcome. The president will receive one as well, then travel by limo to the Vietnamese capital. A Pennsylvania woman and her teenage daughter are accused of killing 5 relatives. Police in Morrisville, that's about 30 minutes northwest of Philadelphia, discovered the bodies in an apartment yesterday where Nicole Owens lives.
It really hurts. It really hurts. 4 people, 2 people, 1 person, it don't even matter. We need to know what's going on in our community.
The suspects are 45-year-old Shauna Decree and her 19-year-old daughter. The House is set to vote later today on a resolution disapproving President Trump's declaration of a national emergency at the southern border. An Amtrak train is still stranded in Oregon since hitting a fallen tree on Sunday. Yes, there are people on board. The Coast Starlight was on its way from Seattle to L.A. The winter storm made the conditions worse, and more fallen trees have blocked the tracks. More than 86 tons of frozen boneless pork rib patties are being recalled across the country, all because of a possible glass and plastic contamination. The frozen box meals are sold under the Boston Market brand. Between December 7 and February 15, they have a Best Buy date of December 2019 to February of 2020. A bus driver this morning is charged with driving while intoxicated following a crash in Gary, Indiana that injured 4. R. Kelly is out of the Cook County Jail after a suburban woman posted $100,000 bond for the singer. And a teenager is accused of selling phony parking permits to students at a high school in Palatine. Christian Zukowski was arrested after he was caught manufacturing and selling the passes for $200 each at Fremd High School. Bucks over the Bulls, 117-106 last night. The news service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. Want to recharge when you travel for business? Get a boost and stay at La Quinta by Wyndham. You can recharge 5 devices in room and recharge yourself with a pillow top mattress and a bright side breakfast. Book now at lq.com and win at business. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Winter stinks. Snow, ice, freezing temperatures, more snow. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Marvel Residences Luxury Resort in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. It's a beautiful, all-inclusive resort located between Rainforest Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. Don't wait to book your Passport to Paradise trip with AM 560 and Apple Vacations. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport.
A car accident can be stressful and inconvenient. You want your car repaired exactly the way it was before the accident. Unfortunately, there's an epidemic of poorly repaired vehicles by corporate-sponsored repair shops. Insurance companies are looking to cut costs. Your car may look fine, but that pretty paint job doesn't mean it was fixed right. Did the shop use genuine manufacturer replacement parts? Or take shortcuts you can't see to stay on the insurance company's direct repair list of shops out of fear they'll be removed? The shop that does it right every time is America's Auto Body. They use only genuine manufacturer's replacement parts and are a fully certified manufacturer and dealer repair facility. If necessary, America's Auto Body will even stand up for you in dealing with insurance to assure your vehicle is properly repaired. They're not afraid of the insurance company. Remember, you, not the insurance company, have a right to choose the repair shop. Learn what to look for in a potential repair shop at americasautobody.com. That's americasautobody.com.
And caller number 9 for $1 million. Rita, complete this quote. Life is like a box of...
Oh, I know this one. Chocolates.
You're cutting out, Rita. We need your answer.
Oh my goodness. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Oh, sorry. That's not what we were looking for. On to caller number 10.
Bad network got you glitched out of luck? Switch to Boost Mobile's super reliable, super fast nationwide network and get 4 lines, each with unlimited gigs for just $100 a month. Plus, get 4 free phones. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 4/15/19. First line is $100 a month. Lines 2 to 4 free. Requires 1 line to port in. Video streams at up to 480p+. Music at up to 500 kilobits per second. Gaming at up to 2 megabits per second. Data deprioritization during congestion. Free phones require port in. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Message and data rates may apply.
Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000
right now, because this free ticket offer expires this Friday.
Just text your zip code to 82,000.
It is 6:38. Let's get a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim.
CTA Brown and Purple Line trains are standing at Belmont due to police activity. Lake Forest, there's a crash on southbound 41 south of 60. Eastbound 8094, got a jam from Burnham Avenue in Lansing, Calumet Avenue in Munster. Wreck blocking 2 right lanes. Inbound Bishop Ford Freeway has heavy delays from 159th, 130th. Earlier semi-collision is cleared, but 30 minutes, 8094 to the merge. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the Rhine. Ryan is 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Aiden's 20 minutes, Lake Oak to Montrose. Kennedy, 29 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 38 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson, 44 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy, cold. Occasional snow today, high 26. Currently 13. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park. We're kicking off our Signature Bank AM 560 business tour this morning, so stop on by. We just had a jogger stop by.
Yeah, you know what the jogging is, right? Have you ever participated in running?
I only run if I'm being chased or I have a ball in my hand, as you know.
But that was nice of them. Yeah, stop on by. We're at the Signature Bank again in Edison Park near at Devon and what is that, Northwest? And Harlem, excuse me. Know where you are.
Yeah, you're very familiar with the city.
No, my dad grew up here. He went to Ebinger Elementary School and then on to Lane Tech. But, yeah, we're from Edison Park. My people.
All right.
Back when we were maids.
Well, taking your calls, who's you voting for? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And we're also getting closing arguments from candidates all week into this week, into today, Election Day. And also, call us if you have any fun stories from your polling place,
like maybe it's not open, or the line's too long, which I doubt,
or they ran out of cash,
or they ran out of ballots. Anything that you see that's off. 312-642-5600.
One guy who hasn't run out of cash and had a nice date night last night with a competitor is Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson, candidate for mayor, businessman, and Paul Vallis took in a Bulls game on Election Eve.
Yeah.
Sort of a nice moment between the two candidates. I think two of the outsider candidates that anybody with an outsider perspective who doesn't want more of the same in 2019 can appreciate. And for more on that and to get his closing argument, we're pleased to be joined by Dr. Willie Wilson.
Hey, how y'all doing? Amy, Dan, how y'all doing this morning?
Willie, how are you? How was the Bulls game last night with Paul?
Well, it was real good. It was real good. We had a chance to chat and talk about different things, how we plan on running the city.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it's better than watching the Bulls play basketball, that's for sure. So it's a nice, quiet venue for you guys to have a chat about public policy. So give us your closing argument as people are heading to the polls this morning and till 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, I think we're gonna do very well. I think it's going to be a upset in terms of how election is won and how some of the people project the polling. I think it'll be real surprised. I think we've been to 7-7 community in Chicago, and we get a lot of good positive comments. I like the idea that we was able to cover all 7-7 community, and we was able to talk to Democrat, Republican, you name them. We talked to all people because we just believe that Chicago is supposed to be together, not separate, and it shouldn't be. It should be about not paying the taxes and things of that nature. And we just believe in it. The tax got us all in a mess, and to come together as a team, we need to figure out and work out this police, fire, school teacher pension. And that's what, and violence, of course, that's what's on people's mind, and that's what's always been on my mind. That's why I got out and ran.
Now, we know that you're successful and a savvy businessman, but do you have a plan to reduce the budget deficit in the city of Chicago and to pay the unpaid pensions?
Yes, we definitely have. It won't be easy, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done just like we're done in my business. I say one day we woke up and Lawrence is saying we was able to get out of $72 million debt market change, and it took us about 2 or 3 years to come out of that. But we worked it, and we did it with our own money. It wasn't taxpayers' dollars, you know?
Right.
And so one of the things that I was trying to explain last week before last at least, on Channel 11, how do you fix the budget? A lot of it mismanagement, of course, but outside of just the airport, marijuana and casino, you got to deal with the detention away budget. $10 billion budget, $7 billion is in payroll. About $2 billion those are in overtime. So you got 40% and 42% of other cities. That's their payroll budget, and we run about 70% or 75% of payroll budget. And you cannot survive that way. As a result of that, that raised high taxes and things of that nature. And then these contracts that you bid out, 75% of contracts in Chicago go to people who donate to the politician campaign. And so those contracts don't get bidded out. And if you bid them out fairly equally, other people will be lower price and will get a fair market in terms of price-wise for the taxpayers of the city of Chicago. I also put a proposal out there was that just to kind of get rid of the corruption was that any business that donate to a mayor or alderman campaign, they can't do business with the city of Chicago until that person turns it up with.
So, Willie, one of the things...
That's what it got to do with corruption.
Yeah.
I'm out here for real, but... Yeah.
Willie, one of the things I like about your candidacy is that you're the only candidate that really focuses the press corps, the sort of the politicized, half-asleep electorate. That's all the focus is on the city budget, on public sector workers. And you're the only candidate that's really said, essentially, what about the budgets of middle-income families and lower-income families in Chicago? What about the people that aren't on the gravy train? What about the people that are just getting bills in the mail and not the benefits because they're not connected to the alderman or the idiot cousin of a daily? I want you to speak to that because I was referencing a little bit earlier in the show before you came on this BEZ story about how middle-income families have disappeared from Chicago or are disappearing quickly, what's happened over the last 35 years. So we have the very wealthy and the poor, lower income, and not much in between, and that's no way to sustain a city to not have a robust middle-income segment.
Right. Well, my philosophy is not helping from the top up, but helping from the bottom up. And if you help from the bottom up, that means everybody rises to the top, you know. And then so that's what I mean by when you bid out the contract, you got people.
But forget about bidding out contracts for a second. Talk to me about people who aren't an appendage of city government, whether as a vendor or an employee. Talk to me about those people who exist outside of Cook County, the federal government, the city of Chicago, and CPS, because there's millions of people in this city that are outside of those units of government. And, you know, who is the candidate for them, and what is your message for those individuals?
Well, my message for those is that they're after tonight, the mayoral thing, they're going to have help. You know, I mean, look, what people do is this here, is that they push the middle class down to needed and lower. You got to create jobs and contracts. If we shouldn't be creating billions and billions of dollars into the wealthy, that's okay in terms of jobs, but look, you got to take and focus, like, if you're going to put $8 billion in O'Hare, put $2 or $3 billion down here in terms of helping the poor and the needed. Create jobs, contracts, give grants to make sure people being able to learn a trade. You got to work with these unions in terms of getting calls down, creating trade for the needed. Because even if they gave the needed $2 or $3 billion a year just in these 8 communities, they wouldn't be able to do them because they ain't got the trade. So we got to work together with that, make that happen. We got to move the middle class, lower class back up to the middle class and things of that nature. I would say create jobs, like contracts, things of that nature. If you lower taxes, then you attract business in Chicago. You attract international business in Chicago.
What taxes would you lower? What taxes would you lower?
Well, you got to lower pretty much all those taxes by bringing in international business and other business from other states. See, because right now, Indiana is beating out Chicago, Tennessee, Texas is all beating out Chicago because they get tax break and create more jobs, you create more dollars. Overall, because when you raise taxes, you pass on down to the consumers. That's what they end up doing. So we have to be able to get a hold of this and do this. This is not hard. If a service station, you got 2 service stations. One across the street, gasoline sells for $4. The other one sells for $3.50. What gas station you going to go into?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you take that the same you do in Indiana and Illinois, and you have to deal with it that way because people are hurt, people losing their home and things of that nature. That's unfair. So we got to focus on the needy, the homeless, back up and get people to the middle class back up there and let them stay up there and move up higher. But you got to create it that way. Otherwise, we're running people out of Chicago and we're going nowhere.
Dr. Wilson, we haven't spoken to you since the alleged Jussie Smollett hoax. What are your feelings on that? But also, Superintendent Eddie Johnson, I thought he's represented the city very well. Would you still keep him as police superintendent if you were elected?
Anybody who deal with Ron Emanuel, no. I'd say no, because the fact of it is that you got to bring in people who feel and think a certain way. You cannot be a puppet to a politician. You have to make sure you represent your community, not a certain select people. And I think that Eddie Johnson has done just that. There's one thing about the Smollett situation. That was just one instance. But all those other instances, things of that nature, look, you cannot be a puppet to Ron Emanuel or nobody, not even myself. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to serve the community. We got good.
Yeah. Go back to. I just want to go back and ask you another finance question. What about the prospect of bankruptcy for the city of Chicago? I mean, you got upwards of $40 billion in unfunded pension and health care benefits before you get to the unpaid bills and the other sort of pressing day-to-day matters, although I would say those are pressing day-to-day matters. What about, you're a businessman. Bankruptcy can be a cleansing process, a way to reorganize and grow again, the way, frankly, Detroit did. So what about that prospect for Chicago?
Look, I don't like bankruptcy and taking that option there. I think with mismanagement is a problem. I think we got to get everybody involved, Democratic, Republican, and other, the citizens of Chicago involved. We understand how to fix the problem more together than separate. All right? Look, I would show the leadership that it takes to get it taken care of. All right? Most leadership that is in office today pretty much greed help themselves and help their particular people that give it them the money. All right? I'm not that way. I put in my own money. I'm not looking for nothing for stuff, but only to help the citizens. All right? Mm-hmm. So unless you straighten out that and you put investigation every 3 months and audit your particular department in City Hall to keep the crooks out and those who are in office now, you won't solve it. I'm just being real practical about the whole thing. You can't have people up at top in government crook and not even investigating them when you take in and investigate people who do misdemeanor and nonviolent and don't investigate white-collar crime.
All right. Willie, we got to run, but I appreciate it. Businessman Willie Wilson, the website, williewilsonformayor.com. He's on the ballot in Chicago today. Willie Wilson, mayoral candidate. Willie, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thank you all.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Roundup weed killer back on trial. And Krispy Kreme donuts branching out. Those stories next.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. And MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, MediShare members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 855-41-BIBLE. That's 855-41-BIBLE. 855-41-BIBLE.
A European holding company believes in diversity. JAB Limited owns Dr. Pepper and Krispy Kreme and now wants to buy American pet hospitals. That's diversity. JAB says more and more people are spending money on pet care. And candy giant Mars also branching out into veterinary clinics and the pet food business. It's day 2 of the weed killer Roundup's trial in San Francisco. The plaintiff's attorneys charge the product causes cancer. Monsanto says the weed killer's active ingredient is safe. Thousands of other Roundup lawsuits are pending in state courts all around America. Sunday's Academy Awards with absolutely no host, attracting more than 29 million viewers. That reverses a 3-year ratings decline and suggests there will be no host next year. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We are ready for Fioretti.
I'm former Alderman Bob Fioretti asking for your vote. As Alderman, I work for you, not the insiders. I'll do the same as mayor. If you're tired of the corruption as I am, the violent crime, the insider deals, then you're ready for Fioretti. I'll fight for what I've always fought for, creating jobs, no property tax increase, term limits, more police officers, and much more. Punch 35 for Bob Fioretti for mayor. Thank you.
We are ready for Fioretti.
Paid for by friends at Bob Fioretti.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Got an email, one polling place report. Polling place in my building, 1030 North State, is empty at 6:30 in the morning. More workers than voters at this hour. That seems about right. Track for our customary 17% turnout. You've heard me talk about Northridge Prep for a year. I have friends with children at the school, and they rave about it. Let me tell you a few things they don't do at Northridge. They don't put an iPad in every boy's hands and somehow expect the boys to focus. The Northridge boys turn off their phones and learn with paper and pen. They don't expect boys to sit still all day in the classroom. They have gym every day and allow the boys to play tag and throw snowballs. They don't tell their boys that being masculine is bad. Instead, they teach what it means to be a gentleman and expect their students to act like one. The teachers expect a lot from the young men. The coaches push them, and the boys love Northridge. If you have a son entering middle or high school, you should learn more about Northridge Prep. Their next open house is Sunday, April 7th. Again, Sunday, April 7th. I urge you to register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It was early last week that I felt as though there was going to be a cold coming on. What I did is increase my intake schedule earlier in the day, and 2 days later, all symptoms gone. And that was my first real battleground test to see, okay, let's see what this can do. Outside of that, I feel better all health. I noticed another lift that says, yeah, this stuff is coming on. I've had people come up to me and say, hey, you know, are you brainwashed by this? I said, no, nothing like that whatsoever. I said, it just simply works.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 20% off any first preferred order of Balance of Nature and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What fallout has she felt since Breaking Bad on the powers that be in the D.C. press corps? We're going to talk to former CBS Foreign News correspondent Lara Logan at 7:07.
And later, don't forget, yes, it is Election Day. Alderman Bob Fioretti, former Alderman Bob Fioretti, will join us at 8:38. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Words are hard. Here's Mike Scott.
The governor touring southern Illinois flooding sites today. Illinois State Police plan a crackdown. WIND Chicago News Time. It's 7 o'clock.
While the president's away, House Democrats take aim at his emergency declaration. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This is not about politics. It's not about partisanship. It's about patriotism.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the president's going too far, trying to reallocate money to build more wall, but Republican leader Kevin McCarthy says it's necessary.
The president's going to get the full 200 miles that the experts said we need on these barriers to protect us.
A second Senate Republican says he'll join Democrats. Tom Tillis calls the emergency declaration a bad precedent that future left-wing presidents could take advantage of. Ex-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen will spend the next 3 days testifying on Capitol Hill, the Senate Intel Committee in private today. The Wall Street Journal reports he'll allege the president committed crimes while in office. Cohen's set to go to prison in May for lying to Congress. The president will soon land in Vietnam, trying to get North Korea to denuclearize. Kim Jong-un's already there.
But while President Trump took to the skies to get to Hanoi, Kim went for a more retro option. With an apparent aversion to flying, he made the journey on his private train.
That's Fox's Simon Owen in Hanoi. Family on family crime alleged in suburban Philadelphia. 5 people found dead in an apartment. Fox's Tanya J. Powers on the case live.
Dave, Shanna Decree, who is 45, and her 19-year-old daughter, Dominique Decree, are now charged in the deaths of 5 of their relatives. Bucks County District Attorney Matthew Weintraub says the dead include 2 of Shanna Decree's children, her sister and her 9-year-old twin nieces.
We're all heartbroken.
He says the cause of death is still under investigation. A motive has not been given. Investigators are still looking for another nephew, 17-year-old Joshua Campbell. They do not consider him a suspect, Dave.
Tanya, in Australia, a cardinal convicted of molesting 2 13-year-old choir boys.
You're a pedophile, you freak!
George Pell berated as he left court. He's the highest-ranking Catholic leader convicted in the priest sex abuse scandal. He could get up to 50 years in prison. He's 77. This is Fox News.
Skies are cloudy. We have 13 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Election Day in Chicago. Polls have been open for a little more than an hour. They close at 7 p.m. tonight. 14 candidates are running for mayor. Contest will also decide city clerk, city treasurer, and alderman in each of the city's 50 wards. If there is no clear winner, Candidate reaching 50% of the vote. Then the top two finishers will face off April 2nd. A bus driver this morning is charged with driving while intoxicated following a crash in Gary, Indiana last night that injured 5. State police there say a bus owned by Jesus Saves Missionary Baptist Church in Gary was returning from a Bulls game when it veered off the Indiana Toll Road and slammed into an embankment near Klein Avenue. The bus driver, Wilton Carr, was booked into the Lake County Jail in Crown Point. R. Kelly is out of the Cook County Jail after a suburban woman posted $100,000 bond for the singer. Kelly pleading not guilty earlier in the day to charges he sexually abused 3 underage girls. No one in custody after a 17-year-old boy was shot and killed near a Chicago high school. It happened last night in the 4400 block of West Addison, the shooting happening a short distance from Schurz High School on the northwest side. Illinois State Police planning a crackdown to get you to pull over and make some room. State Police commanders saying they will now be out in force to make sure drivers pull over for first responders and other people who work along the side of the road. Illinois, of course, has Scott's Law that requires drivers to give police, firefighters, and EMTs at least one lane in which to work, and troopers say drivers in Illinois are not doing that. The news service of accountants finding highly skilled accounting and finance pros can be a challenge. Accountants can help. With Accountants' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountants.com to learn more. Accountants is a Robert Half company. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says we can learn from the fake beating case.
The damage that this guy caused with this horrible, horrible accusation. If we haven't learned anything, we should learn that the media better stop jumping to conclusions. We need to stop jumping to conclusions. Everybody needs to stop jumping to conclusions. We need a wake-up call.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
We've all been there, looking for a parking spot when it's freezing and icy outside. The icy pavement of this pothole-filled parking lot is a nightmare. Oh, there's a spot. Wait, oh no, you're sliding. Watch out for that pothole. Your tire just blew out. The kids are crying and you're never coming back here again. Business owners and property managers, avoid frustrating your customers with a less than perfect parking lot. Pavement Solutions can offer you a safer and longer lasting pothole repair with permanent cold mix asphalt. It's an immediate solution and 90% of potholes patched will never need to be repaired again. Call Pavement Solutions today and learn how they can fix your lot in a day without closing it. In fact, as customers drive over the patch, it gets stronger. Don't put your customers or your business at risk with annoying potholes. Give your customers the experience they deserve. Call Pavement Solutions for a free quote. 815-675-0696. 815-675-0696.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time, so you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
Rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Stan Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000
right now, because this free ticket offer expires this Friday.
Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Attend an open house at Chamberlain's Addison, Chicago, or Tinley Park campus, Tuesday, March 5th between 5 and 7 p.m. Now enrolling for the 3-year BSN degree program. Classes start in May. Visit chamberlain.edu for details.
7:08 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
In Villa Park, northbound 83 is closed from Roosevelt to Riverside with a collision involving a semi and a box truck. Edens Expressway inbound heavy before Foster to the junction. 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 28 for a crash at Peterson. Kennedy, 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 24 from Montrose, 20 of the Express. The Eisenhower's 48 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 32. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan is 31 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, side east of Merge Beach, 433 with a crash at Sibley. Westbound Tri-State, it's slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Reagan Tollway from the Aurora Toll to Pascagoula. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and cold today, snow and flurries, mainly later in the day, accumulating up to an inch, high 26. Snow at times tonight, up to an inch accumulation, low 22. Snow tomorrow morning, little or no accumulation, otherwise cloudy, high 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
13 at O'Hare, 18 along the lakefront, and flurries at Midway. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're coming to you live from Signature Bank at Edison Park, kicking off our 3rd annual Signature Bank AM 560 business tour. We'll be talking to one of the founders of Signature Bank at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. But and we'll be talking a little bit more about the mayoral election today at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour with Bob Fioretti, one of the candidates on the ballot today. But you've had Bernie Goldberg, Shell Atkinson, and now Lara Logan. Very interesting. I saw this interview that Lara Logan, who I think everybody will remember from 60 Minutes.
Yeah, she was with CBS for some 16 years,
yeah,
right?
Correct. Foreign correspondent for CBS News. But that 60 Minutes, I think, gave her real profile, understandably. I still watch 60 Minutes. And she gave this interview to a former Navy SEAL, Mike Ritland, on a podcast that he does, talking about the press, talking about the Jill Abramson book that's coming out that we've discussed, the former New York Times executive editor, talking about the New York Times protocol with Trump coverage, and just a whole host of things. But she made some admissions that I think jarred people, even though most, I think, even casual observers and readers and consumers of the news recognize the veracity of what she's saying, for example.
I didn't even notice that there was a bias in the media. People would say it to me all the time, and I argued passionately and ferociously against that, because I really believe that, you know, when we do it well, and the majority of serious journalists will all trying to do their best to overcome those biases and rely on the facts and good systems. You know what? You know, we have few conventions, if you like, because they're not really rules, but that you need at least 2 first-hand sources for something, right? Those things help keep you, keep your work to a certain standard. Those standards are out the window. I mean, you read one story after another or hear it, and it's all based on one anonymous administration official, a former administration official, right? I mean, that's not journalism. That's sorry, that is absolute horror.
Lara Logan working blue. And we're
Well, it was
pleased.
a 3.5-hour interview. It was great. It was fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, and this is why we reached out to have her on the show, and we're pleased to be joined now by former CBS News foreign correspondent Lara Logan. Lara, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Please, if you could keep the profanity to a minimum. This is a family show.
I'll do my best.
How has it been since you've sort of started saying things that seem to be patently obvious about the media, like it leans left and like there's a political agenda, and there's been a lot of reporters, not all, a lot of reporters that have seemed to cross over from being a journalist to being a political activist. What's the response been from your former friends?
Well, it's been a little busier than I expected it to be because, I'm used to speaking my mind and nobody paying attention. That's what happens most often in my house anyway. But quite honestly, I really have not had a lot of pushback. In fact, I haven't had any pushback really from my colleagues and from my friends who are also journalists. Most people they know it's true, right? And anyway, what are they going to do? Push back and say, we're not liberal? We're really conservative?
Well, Laura, when did you realize that the mainstream media had an agenda? Was there an aha moment that you
put
had?
It like that, I'm not so sure that it's a monolithic agenda, and I'm not so sure that it belongs to the mainstream media either. My experience has been more that that my point in saying that most journalists are registered Democrats is just to acknowledge who we are. Not to say that there's just because you're a registered Democrat and a journalist you can't be honest and professional and independent, because of course you can. It's more the fact that we've departed from the standards and the norms that, and my experience as an old school journalist, they always defined us. And it's one thing to be a conservative commentator or a liberal commentator, or to come out as a newspaper and identify on one side of the political spectrum or as a show. But what we're doing is we're pretending to be in the middle. We're pretending to be objective when we really are on one side of the political spectrum, and in this case it just happens to be on the left. That's my issue. And I realized it personally when I was confronted by a group of if you like, people protesting against abortion, or I said pro-life once, and someone attacked me even for using that term. And they said to me, "You're not fair to us," and it bothered me. It kind of stuck in my head, even though I defended the media. And for years, I thought about this until I realized, wow, they're actually kind of right. Every time we put them on television, it's because there's an abortion clinic that's been bombed, or we do it in sort of pejorative terms about someone who's on that side of the political spectrum. And it was one of the things that made me question and open my eyes a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point about just be honest about who you are, pretending to be in the middle when you're decidedly not, is the thing that's the most frustrating to me. And the way that I always talk to my journalist friends about this, and we've looked up voting records here in Chicago. I've done it, looked up voting records of like the top 100 journalists, and it's 90-10 Democrat, Republican in terms of primary ballots cast. So I mean, let's just be honest about it. My question always back to them: look, if you had in the D.C. press corps, 90% of the Gang of 500, as it's called, were Republican voters. They voted consistently for the Republican candidate for president. Do you think the coverage would be different? And of course it would be. And it doesn't mean that it's unprofessional, and it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means be honest about it. Understand that you're coming to the table with a perspective. You have beliefs. You're not these superhuman beings that have no belief systems and no disposition. And so just be frank about that so that people can understand that perspective and factor that into what they consume.
Well, what you're talking about is context, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what we want. I mean, if I go out on Afghanistan and, report on something without any context for people to understand it, and an honest context, right, then that allows that report to be taken in isolation and to be used whatever way. So, I mean, what you're talking about is one of the most natural things in the world. Give people an honest context in which to evaluate the information they're being given. That's why identifying your sources is so important. And then, you two have probably been doing this as long as I have, right? I mean, so you're familiar with why we give anonymity. Typically, that's an exception. It's not the standard. It's not supposed to be the norm, right? We encouraged people to identify themselves, to go on the record as much as possible, and not to hide behind anonymity. I mean, really, that's supposed to be there to protect people whose lives might be at risk. Or, if the situation is extraordinary, the circumstances are exceptional, and you're not going to be able to, report on something that is of such significance unless the person has the protection of anonymity. But today, I mean, with the amount of anonymity for sources left and right, I mean, it's all over the place, and it's constant. What we're allowing people to do is people with, dishonest motivation are using the cloak of anonymity to push a political agenda. And that's a failure of journalism, and it's a failure of leadership. And then it becomes a failure of all of us when we just go along with it.
Right. I just wanted to ask you quickly about your time with CBS. How did it end? Why aren't you still with 60 Minutes?
Well, that's a very good question. Why didn't you ask them?
Okay.
Ask them. I loved my time at 60 Minutes. It was just, I can't say enough about it. The standard that the show works to and that the people there work to, and the amazing work that I was able to do while I was there. I'm very proud of it.
I want to pick up just talking about journalistic standards again. The Jussie Smollett hoax case and the press reporting on that, and frankly, some that are still sticking with the narrative they started with, which is Jussie Smollett's narrative. The lack of healthy skepticism, not cynicism, but just healthy skepticism of restrained reporting until and unless you get facts in that are verifiable and don't get out over your skis. And we've seen this before, right? I mean, the Jussie Smollett, the Virginia, the UVA rape case that Rolling Stone published, Duke Lacrosse, Covington schoolboys, and all this. Is there something that you see that has changed with the sort of narrative telling focus of the press as opposed to the fact gathering and reporting job that the press is supposed to fulfill?
Well, it's an interesting point that you raise, because what it smacks of to me is when journalists stand up today and say, there's never been a more important time for us to do our jobs, right? We have to hold those in power to account. And we have to be real journalists now. It's more important than ever. That always makes me wonder, what do you mean by that? Are you saying that if Hillary Clinton had won the election, it wouldn't have been as important to do our jobs properly? Are you saying it's more important because it's a Republican president and not a Democrat, and you don't agree with them or you don't like them? Or are you saying it's more important than it ever has been, Republican or Democrat, because of this president, because you really don't like him? I mean, as you can see, when you follow it to its logical conclusion, it becomes absolutely ridiculous. And in fact, many people have said to me, I think the opposite is true. When you like the person who's in power, when you agree with everything they're saying, it's more important to be critical, because we're inclined to believe the people we like and agree with. And I'm not one of these journalists. I don't want to speak out of turn here. I haven't followed the Jussie Smollett case. And on a personal level, I feel bad for anyone who does something like that, who goes out and lies like that and is publicly humiliated, even if it is his own fault, which it appears to be. But on a journalistic level, I have to look at, here are all these journalists. They could have independently verified that story in a lot of different ways, starting with the police, who seemed to be extremely skeptical right from the very beginning.
Yes.
And it's not the only story that fits the pattern where, MAGA hats are involved, or people on one side of the political spectrum are involved, and the vast majority of journalists, dancing on the grave of a narrative that they don't like, are rushing to judgment on the other side. I mean, there's a great irony in it, and it serves to prove my point. If you like the person and you agree with what they're saying, doesn't make them right. You have to be as critical of them as the people you don't like and don't agree with. And that's why I always say I do my job the same way no matter who's in power. I did my job the same way under when Clinton was in power, and Bush, and Obama, and Donald Trump. I mean, for me, it's all the same. There's only one truth. I approach everything with an open mind and an open heart, and I'm as skeptical of the people I like as the ones I don't.
See, I've always started from the premise that, borrowing from Finley Peter Dunn, a Chicago writer, that part of the job of the Fourth Estate is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. But I think what we've moved to in the 21st century, because of a hyper-politicized press, is what John McWhorter wrote about in The Atlantic in the wake of the Jussie Smollett case, victimhood chic.
Yep.
And that the stories that the press wants to tell are the hero-victim stories, but the victim's got to be right, just of the right persuasion, and the villain has to be just of the right persuasion.
Well, what a nice, easy way out for all of us. We care so much about the victims that that's what we do now. We elevate the victims and we don't worry about the facts or being journalists. To me, that's a cop-out. I haven't read the whole article, so I could be speaking out of turn. But don't let us off so easily, right? It wasn't hard to do basic journalism on that story. It was right here and accessible. I mean, I was attacked, supposedly for not doing basic journalism on Benghazi, when none of the reporters who were writing about it and criticizing me and taking shots at me had any of the facts. And we were accused of not doing basic journalism just when we had signed a non-disclosure agreement, that was written by the lawyers that many other journalists who had come before us had signed themselves. We were accused of that when the only two people that could have verified those two specific parts of our social story were in Libya, in a city that was under terrorist control and wouldn't speak to us.
Yeah, but
so in those circumstances, when you've verified everything else that you can, and you have no reason to believe someone is lying, and you go with it, you get accused of sloppy journalism. But those attacks were politically motivated, and there's politics in this too. It's politically motivated, and let's not delude ourselves, right? Let's just be honest. If we're in the business of calling it like it is, let's call it what it is. It's politics.
And I remember that story that you did, and one of the differences as compared to what we see today when the facts give lie to the reporting that was done is you took ownership of it. I remember you going on television and apologizing to the 60 Minutes audience for getting it wrong. And and that's fine. Everybody understands people make mistakes, like that in the honest pursuit of their job. That's fine. And people are forgiving when you own it. You owned it, but the DC Press Corps today, as a matter of course, does not.
Well, they're not owning it, and I'm just, I'm a little surprised at how many mistakes are being made day after day after day. And so it makes you think that rush to judgment, that not independently verifying the information is being, is systematic more than just happening honestly, as was our case. An honest mistake was made. But I will tell you also in our case that when questions were raised about one of three characters in our story, the least important character, and I say questions were raised because what was out there was that his account differed from what he told the FBI. The FBI has never confirmed on the record what he said differently. We still don't know for sure. But he disappeared, and we couldn't defend him. What I will say, though, is the other two voices, the rest of our story, the parts I couldn't stand up for at the time, I'm standing up for now. Because it was the substance of our piece was in what those people said, and our piece was erased. Nobody can see it. Nobody can even see how bad the reporting on it was because they can't watch the piece and get the truth themselves. And that's not what I see happening today. Yeah, you have it out there, and you have people reluctantly even, putting a correction at the end of a story. Or, and you show a similar reluctance with the students that were on the steps of Capitol Hill who were attacked. And it just so happens to be that these two examples, show a liberal press making an assumption that served a political agenda that damns the right. I mean, I would defend the principle even if it were reversed. If it were the right-wing press or the conservative press going after liberal narrative and being wrong, I would say the same thing.
She is Lara Logan, former CBS News foreign correspondent. Lara, thanks so much for your time, and good luck with your future endeavors. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1-Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman & Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman & Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Chicago is a big city, 234 square miles. We have 50 aldermen to watch over our neighborhood, but only one police superintendent. As mayor, I will add 3 more superintendents and form separate districts for them to be responsible for and bringing top management to the police force closer to our citizens.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for mayor.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy coming to you live from Signature Bank, kicking off our AM 560 Signature Bank business tour this morning.
Yeah, you told people if they want to come and visit us to bring food.
Yeah, you don't come empty-handed here.
People are coming and they're bringing food,
That's
so
right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Stop on by at Edison Park on Devon and
in Harlem.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Also, Oscar ratings in. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Up
They're
19%.
26 million people watch the Oscars.
Up
and
19%
you know why?
with no host.
Yeah, but you know why?
Because they had no hosts.
For the first time on live television, Lady Gaga
No.
and Bradley Cooper sang "Shallow."
No.
And then they made out, and then she got pregnant.
Really? all last night.
Very busy.
That is not why.
No, so you think the ratings weren't because they didn't have a host?
Yeah, for sure. No host.
Huh.
Yeah, for sure.
The show did move. It was great. It was the best Oscars I've ever seen.
Also, this was a great tweet I got yesterday. Did you see Jussie rush the stage?
Jussie Smollett?
Did you see Jussie rush the stage during Shallow and yell, "This is Gaga country"? See what he did there?
I see.
Yeah. Up 19%. The same thing would happen if none of the above was on the ballot today in Chicago. None of the above would win if it was on the ballot, just as no host was a winner for the Oscars.
Got it.
Yeah.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to Dr. Leonard Sax about a transgender person who was honored with Citizen of the Year in Jackson, Michigan, before she burned down his house as a hoax.
Yeah.
That's at
and
7:37.
how many animals he killed, we'll give you the latest on that. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Clouds, 13 degrees at 7:31. Election day in Chicago. Polls are open. They close at 7 p.m. A Pennsylvania woman and her teenage daughter accused of killing 5 relatives. It happened in Morrisville near Philadelphia. Bucks County District Attorney Matthew Weintraub briefed reporters and families this morning.
Shana Decree
45 years old, and her daughter, Dominique Ducree, 19 years old, were both treated earlier and are now in custody. 5 counts of homicide each and 1 count of criminal conspiracy.
The stakes are high as President Trump prepares for his second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Gordon Chang is the author of Nuclear Showdown. North Korea takes on the world, says the president's tactics since the last summit suggest he's more focused on the dangers of China.
It really has not been directed to taking away North Korea's weapons. It's more like trying to create this friendship with Kim Jong-un to peel him away from Beijing, to sort of say, look, it's more important that we isolate China than we disarm North Korea.
When they last met in Singapore last June, Trump and Kim signed a vaguely worded agreement promising to work toward denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. The talks in Vietnam Wednesday and Thursday will provide opportunities to add specifics to that agreement. An Amtrak train is still stranded in Oregon since hitting falling trees on Sunday. Passenger Rebecca Dodson posted a video to Twitter last night.
Stuck on Amtrak Coastal Starlight Train 11. We're just outside Oak Ridge, Oregon. We've been stuck here for 24 hours now. We're running low on supplies.
The train was on its way to L.A. when the train hit that tree, and more trees have fallen and more snow has fallen, making conditions even worse for the 183 passengers and crew waiting on board and hoping for someone to find alternative transportation. A bus driver is charged with driving while intoxicated following a crash in Gary, Indiana that injured 5. That bus was owned by the Jesus Saves Missionary Baptist Church. The driver, Wilton Carr, was booked into the Lake County Jail in Crown Point. At a bond hearing yesterday for a Naperville man accused of causing a serious hit-and-run accident, Joseph Kaczarski faced upgraded charges, including 1 count of felony aggravated DUI and felony reckless driving. Police say the 51-year-old defendant struck 17-year-old Elizabeth Dunlap near the corner of Main and Grant. The victim did not survive. Kaczarski remains jailed in the DuPage County Jail on $5 million bond. Bucks over the Bulls last night, 117-106. Spring baseball, Sox and Giants in a 4-all tie. Cubs welcome the Diamondbacks. Yu Darvish will throw. The news, a service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge. Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
And you know my beverage of choice is tequila.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Per doctor's orders, no lie. I went in to have a doctor's appointment a couple years ago, telling my doctor about my tummy, my gut issues. He said, how about tequila? He said, tequila's better for your stomach. And swear to God, true story. Now, that was about 2 years ago. Son of a gun, I love it.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now, are you sitting in your home afraid to go out in public? Afraid to be seen in a restaurant? Afraid to talk or smile knowing those dentures will fall out at any minute? I'm Dr. Howard Cooper from Excellence in Dentistry, and we can handle all your worries. We have a complete in-house denture lab, and we're here to help you smile and eat with all the confidence again. Every day I see folks like Mary, whose family didn't know where else to turn. Mary's been losing weight and wouldn't eat with her ill-fitting dentures. After talking with Mary, we realized that not only did her denture not fit well, but she hated the way it made her look. We fabricated a new denture that day, and we designed it with Mary's concerns in mind. The smile on her face when we finished conveyed the greatest feeling of all. Mary not only looked beautiful, but she was happy and couldn't wait to get downstairs and hit the restaurant. Mary is happy and her family is happy. That's what we do for our patients. We change their lives. Call us at 847-244-4000 for your free consultation. Don't hide in your house any longer. Again, call us at 847-244-4000. We are located in Gurnee at Washington and 21 in Saratoga Square. Excellence in Dentistry, creating excellence one smile at a time.
When do you want to spot the burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's already in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while he and his family were home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, Blink video clips were sent to the police to help convict the bad guys. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free. They set up in just minutes. They run on a pair of AA batteries that last up to 2 years. If you're traveling, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on pets from anywhere using the Blink smartphone app. I love my Blink cameras in my home. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable, and Blink works with Alexa. Blink camera systems make great gifts, and they're a brilliant way to monitor your package deliveries. I want you to visit blinkprotect.com/Mike. That's blinkprotect.com/Mike. blinkprotect.com/Mike. Blink is an Amazon company. You're going to love your Blink cameras. I sure as heck love mine.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:38. Check on our morning roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
In Villa Park, northbound 83 is closed between Butterfield and Riverside. A major wreck. Inbound Eden, delays from Devon Junction. There is a crash at Peterson of the right lane. In a travel time of 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. On Kennedy, 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 24 from Montrose, 20 in the Express. The Eisenhower is 50 minutes from 390 to downtown. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 34 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, siding to the Murray Fisher 426. With on Tri-State heavy from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway from Fox River to past Farnsworth. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy and cold this morning. Occasional flurries later in the day. High 26. Currently 13. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're coming to you live from Signature Bank in Edison Park, kicking off our Signature Bank AM 560 business tour this year. Be coming to successful businesses in a neighborhood near you this spring as we embark upon our little journey, get out of the office and
it's so much fun.
Meet the last few remaining businesses in the Chicago metropolitan area.
Stop it.
So, yeah, I'm wondering when Signature Bank is going to open up their Indiana branch. But anyway, we'll talk at the 8 o'clock hour to Kevin Bastuga from Signature Bank about that.
So excited.
But now we have to talk a little bit about, raising children and the context of sex identity politics. We talked a lot about a hoax in Chicago perpetrated by Jussie Smollett. How about this one up in Jackson, Michigan? Citizen of the Year, Nikki Jolie, transgender activist, has been charged with arson for burning down her home and trying to pin it on, transphobic attackers.
Right.
Yes.
So what have we decided? We're having a heated conversation during the break.
I think she is transitioning to a he.
That's what I think. But you thought she was a she transitioning into a he, and I had to set you straight.
Well, here's the thing. Let me set you straight. XX and XY. And that's
right,
the end of the conversation. But okay. All right.
So
sure.
we'll refer to Shim. Wanted to get some sympathy and wanted to look like a victim. Kind of similar to Jussie Smollett. Wanted, because victimization is cool now. And decided to burn down said person's home, burned down their own house, and in the process killed 2 dogs and 3 cats to make it look like she was really victimized. And they have video of her filling up a gas tank, not a gas tank, but one of those 2-gallon gas jugs, and that's proof.
Yeah.
And then they,
So Maxine Waters still believes that she's innocent, just like she does Jussie Smollett, but the evidence seems to be pretty substantial against Nikki Jolie for the arson in question. But this is so interesting to me because people can't make sense of it. Like, rational people can't make sense of it because they don't understand how people that are so consumed with politics, the lengths they will go to, these political zealots like Nikki Jolie, like even Jussie Smollett. Yes, it's in pursuit of money. This is in pursuit of political power locally in Nikki Jolie's community. The lengths that they will go to, people wildly underestimate it because they are ideological zealots. And so this against the backdrop of this Andrew Sullivan piece in New York Magazine from a couple of weeks ago, but this is really important and timely. Might be a sign of end times or simply a function of our currently scrambled politics, but earlier this week, 4 feminist activists, 3 from a self-described radical feminist organization, Women's Liberation Front, appeared on a panel at the Heritage Foundation. Together, they argue that sex was fundamentally biological and not socially constructed, and that there's a difference between women and trans women that needs to be respected. For this, they were given a rousing round of applause by the Trump supporters, religious right members, natural law theorists, and conservative intellectuals who comprise much of the crowd. This is not a hallucination, Andrew Sullivan assures you. And this is, by the way, the position that Martina Navratilova has taken with respect to men in women's sports that has her excommunicated by parts of the LGBT political movement, if you will. Sullivan makes this other point, though, too, that's really important. Sullivan is a gay man, longtime gay rights activist. He talks about this trans, your whatever gender you feel like at any given moment. He writes, this is deeply confusing and this is the deeply confusing and incoherent aspect of the entire debate. If you abandon biology in the matter of sex and gender altogether, you may help trans people live fuller, less conflicted lives, but you also undermine the very meaning of homosexuality. If you follow the current ideology of gender as entirely fluid, you actually subvert and undermine core arguments in defense of gay rights. A gay man loves and desires other men, and a lesbian desires and loves other women. That this defines the existential state of being gay. If there's no such thing as male or female, the entire self-definition of gay identity, which we spent generations seeking to validate, collapses. So, this is where poisonous ideology starts to collapse in on itself or cannibalize ostensible allies. And that's what Andrew Sullivan's piece in New York Magazine, which is worth checking out, speaks to in the context of cases like Nikki Jolie. I mean, victimhood is one aspect of it, but just the whole nature of gender as a social construct, which has taken hold, is terribly problematic, and it becomes abusive, in my opinion, when it is parents indulging prepubescent children.
Well, look at the Hollywood left. Pink, Kate Hudson, they're raising their newborn children genderless so that they could decide what gender they want to be. That's sick.
Well, that's one piece of it, and the other piece of it, as we talked about yesterday in the context of the sexualization of children, the television shows, the celebration of a 9-year-old drag queen on a morning talk show.
Well, look at, isn't she so cute? No, that's disgusting.
Well, and so the idea of gender as a social construct is something that parents are going to deal with, and they're either going to indulge their children or they're going to, I don't know, fall on the side of science. And for more on the science piece of this, we're pleased to be joined again by Leonard Sax, Dr. Leonard Sax. He's the author of a number of books, including Why Gender Matters, Boys Adrift, Girls on the Edge, and New York Times bestseller, The Collapse of Parenting. Dr. Sax, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
So just in the context of what Andrew Sullivan had to say and some of these higher-profile cases, what Martina Navratilova had to say in the context of sports, why does gender matter?
Well, you start with Genesis 1:27. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. It doesn't say black and white, he created them. It doesn't say Asian and Hispanic, he created them. Black, white, Asian, and Hispanic are man-made categories. But male and female are of God. And in my book, Why Gender Matters, I lay out the recent research showing that girls and boys, women and men, see differently. The visual system is built differently, not only in humans, incidentally, but in chimpanzees and monkeys. We hear differently. Women have an ability to smell that is better than men's. How much better? 50%
So
better?
true.
80% or better? No, for some odors, it's 100,000 times more sensitive.
Yep.
So a woman says, oh, my goodness, something died, it rotted, I think I'm going to throw up. And the man says, I don't smell anything.
Yep.
And the husband and wife don't understand that they're experiencing different sensory worlds because nobody ever told them. They've been immersed in a culture that says gender is just something that society imagines, that society invents. And so wife thinks her husband is being incredibly obnoxious, pretending not to notice the smell, and husband just thinks wife is being weird, going on about a smell that he can't detect. Neither of them know that these differences are real. I really think it should be part of premarital counseling, that a young man and a young woman preparing to marry, somebody should tell them that these differences are real and they're okay, and they're part of the splendor of the human experience, is that women and men are different, and that's okay.
This is how Amy can
guess
always...
that if you grow up in the United States.
Yeah. Amy can always smell the high karate wafting off of me,
right.
From
no,
a block
before you
away.
get in, I could tell if you
in.
smoked a cigar the night before. It is
Yes.
the weirdest thing. But so what do you think of all these transgender men joining women's competitions? I mean, recently, over the weekend for indoor track, 2 boys essentially won the women's track meet.
Yeah, and that's happening a lot. So I wrote a book called Why Gender Matters for Doubleday way back in 2005 and had half a page on transgender. So the publisher, Penguin Random House, asked me to write a new edition because a lot has happened. So I wrote I spent a year writing the new edition of Why Gender Matters, which now has 12 chapters. 4 of the 12 chapters are on gender nonconforming, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, because this has just exploded. As recently as 1994, the American Psychological Association said transgender is really rare. We're not even sure how rare it is. We think it's maybe 1 in 30,000. But then last year, Time magazine has this cover story, Beyond He or She, and they interviewed 2,000 millennials, 12% of whom said they were transgender. So we've gone from less than 1 in 10,000 to more than 1 in 10 in 25 years.
And the American
going on? So I try to answer that question in the book, and the short answer is there's tremendous confusion. And it turns out gender is a lot more fragile than people realize, and that if you don't teach boys to be men and teach girls to be women and explain what that means with equal opportunity for everybody, you end up with a lot of kids who are really confused. And this girl thinks, well, I don't like pink and I don't like Barbies. I must be a boy.
When really she's
30
just
years
a tomboy.
ago, she was a tomboy. Now she's trans. There's a lot of confusion there.
Well, how are parents, though, playing a role into this? I mean, we just mentioned about Hollywood lefties, the elitists who are raising their kids without genders. They're going to let them decide for themselves if they want to be a boy or a girl.
Well, every culture of which we have knowledge has taken this very seriously, has taken very seriously the concept that you must teach a girl what it means to be a woman. That doesn't mean wearing makeup or wearing a dress. It goes to the core of who you are as a human being. You must teach boys to be men. That doesn't mean being macho or playing football. It goes to the core of who you are as a human being. We used to take that seriously, and we no longer do. And the result is kids who are very confused, and parents who think that they're being enlightened by dressing their son in a dress and changing his name to Emily, when in fact they're doing their son great harm.
Develop that a little bit more, because that's where I wanted to go. These parents that are putting their kids on TV, the 9-year-old drag queen and this and that.
So
even going further. A 5-year-old
boy says to his parents, "I am a girl." What do we know about such individuals? We actually know a great deal. We have researchers like Kenneth Zucker, who's been following these individuals for more than 30 years. And what we know is that you follow this kid 15 years down the road, and this individual is no longer claiming to be a woman. More than 90% of these kids do not persist. And Dr. Zucker says, look, don't put this boy in a dress. You don't know where his journey's going to end. And the great majority of these boys will grow up to be men who identify as men. And by changing this boy's name, putting in a dress, you're doing great harm and introducing great confusion. A 5-year-old doesn't know who he's going to be. And yet the American Academy of Pediatrics has recently issued guidelines saying that if a 5-year-old boy says he's a girl, your job is to change his name to Emily, put him in a dress, and change the birth certificate. Justin never existed. I mean, George Orwell could not have dreamed this stuff up. We're going to pretend this boy never existed. We're going to change the birth certificate. That's now the official guideline of the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is very troubling, that the American Academy of Pediatrics is no longer guided by the evidence or the research, but instead is driven by the politics.
Well, and I want to get back to the American Psychological Association, too, and those guidelines they promulgated with respect to boys who are, being raised as boys but are inherently toxic, essentially. Your reaction to that? The
American Academy of the American Psychological Association guidelines said, as they announced on their website, that traditional masculinity is toxic. Now, that just turns out to be false. Look, teaching boys to be men is part of your job as a parent, but a man can be a wolf, can be aggressive, can be toxic, or he can be a warrior defending people against the bad guys. That's the key point that the American Psychological Association completely missed. That as a counselor at a school I visited once said, look, you cannot teach a bully to be a flower child, but you can teach him to be a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T. Her motto was affirm the knight. We need to teach boys to be good men, not to be sexual harassers or bullies or criminals. And that's the distinction that the American Psychological Association completely missed. They want all boys to be girls. And
it's remarkable.
What they're recommending boils down to castration, which is not best practice and not evidence-based.
He is Dr. Leonard Sax. He's the author of a number of books that are worth checking out. Why Gender Matters, Boys Adrift, Girls on the Edge, and The Collapse of Parenting. Dr. Sax, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg at Team Hochberg. If you're looking to refinance, please call Team Hochberg. Mike, self-employed, lives in a $1 million home in Glenview, called to refinance and combined his $500,000 expiring adjustable rate mortgage and a $100,000 HELOC. Mike planned on moving when his daughter graduates high school in 5 years, so to help Mike afford his constantly increasing and ridiculously expensive real estate taxes, I recommended an interest-only loan. Mike was hesitant at first, but after I explained his monthly payment would decrease over $1,100 a month, he told us to immediately get the ball rolling. If you're interested in lowering your monthly mortgage payment, like Mike, call the local mortgage experts right now on Team Hochberg at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com.
Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 66761019, NMLS 1124061.
So we're here at Signature Bank, and everyone brought some wonderful food and baked goods. But where's the fruits and veggies, Dan? Another reason why you should take Balance of Nature. There's 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies in a capsule, no preservatives. And it helps boost your immune system all winter long. And that's so important right now because if you want to avoid getting sick, you know, because all of your coworkers are sneezing and coughing, then you should take Balance of Nature. You've heard the testimonials. And I could tell you this, they are real. I spent time with Dr. Douglas Howard. I questioned some of the testimonials that I heard on this program. And he showed me the emails and played some of the voicemails from real people who use Balance of Nature to get healthier and stay healthy. And that should be you. Do not wait another day. Try it now before you get sick. And you can get 35% off when you order by using promo code Chicago. Here's what you do. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use the promo code Chicago for 35% off your first set of fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature.
Upgrade your spring grilling today with specially curated packages featuring this game-changing steak that couldn't come from anywhere else besides Omaha Steaks. Right now, Omaha Steaks is giving an amazing limited-time offer to my listeners when you go to omahasteaks.com and you enter Mike G into the search bar. You're going to get 71% off the limited-time Omaha Cut Ribeye Cookout for just $69.99. Of course, it comes with free shipping. This limited-time offer includes 4 of the all-new triple-trimmed Omaha Cut Ribeyes, 4 juicy Omaha Steak Burgers, 4 premium chicken breasts, 4 savory pork chops, 4 massive gourmet jumbo franks, caramel apple tartlets for dessert, and a packet of Omaha Steaks signature seasoning. Thick, tall, tender like a filet mignon with all that buttery rich flavor that makes the ribeye a steak lover's favorite. Again, a limited time offer. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter the promo code MikeG into the search bar. You're going to get 71% off the Omaha Cut Ribeye Cookout. Originally $242 for just $69.99. Of course, it all comes with free shipping.
Hey, I'm so excited to tell you about this already modestly priced MyPillow Giza Dream Bed Sheets. They use the world's best cotton called Giza, and it's grown in a region near the Mediterranean and Nile River. It is ultra soft, breathable, extremely durable. It includes full 21-inch wide pillowcases that fit any pillow and deep pocket sheets that fit any mattress. Folks, this is the real deal. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Amy, mypillow.com, promo code Amy. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, we'll talk to the George Bailey of Chicago Banking. He's Kevin Bastuga. And then at 8:20, David Krupa calls in.
Oh.
Can he beat Madigan Goon Marty Quinn in that aldermanic race?
Yes, and don't forget to vote and tell your friends. Now here is Mike Scott.
A bus driver charged in a Gary, Indiana crash that injured 5. It's Election Day here in Chicago. Bulls lose to the Bucks and White Sox host the Royals today. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
President Trump has just landed in Vietnam. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, getting ready for his second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
The Trump administration hails Vietnam with its booming economy as an example of the prosperity North Korea could perhaps enjoy itself one day. But only if Kim Jong-un gives up his nuclear weapons.
Fox's Simon Owen in Hanoi. While the president's there, Michael Cohen will spend the next 3 days on Capitol Hill as ex-lawyer talking about Russia and other Trump investigation issues. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, round 1 for Cohen behind closed doors with the Senate Intelligence Committee. Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana says Cohen has lied to Congress before.
He's obviously a very bitter man, and he's obviously angry.
Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii says Cohen has no motive to lie.
Does he want to add to the number of years that he's going to have to serve? I don't think so.
The Wall Street Journal reporting Cohen will testify the president committed crimes while in office. Tomorrow, he'll testify publicly before the House Oversight Committee. Dave.
Rachel, the House Democrats will today vote to block the president's national emergency declaration.
We would be delinquent in our duties
if we did not resist, we did not fight back.
Well, the president says it's necessary to reallocate money to build more wall to secure the border, and if the resolution passes the House and Senate, he'd veto it. A Pennsylvania mother was arraigned on murder charges this morning, accused of murdering two of her kids, her sister, and her twin nieces, who were just 9 years old. And Shauna Decree's teenage daughter is also charged after the 5 victims were found dead in an apartment. An Amtrak train headed from Seattle to L.A. is stuck on the tracks in Oregon, has been since Sunday night.
They said a whole bunch of trees had fallen. They couldn't get the locomotive up here to get to us at all. So, yeah, I think even some of the trees hit the locomotive, so it's crazy.
He's one of the 183 stranded passengers, courtesy of John Gray, C10Inc.com. He worries food and other supplies are dwindling. This is Fox News.
Cloudy skies, 14 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It is Election Day for the city of Chicago. Polls are opening and closing at 7 p.m. tonight. 14 candidates running for mayor. Voters will also decide outcomes for city clerk, city treasurer, and the aldermen in each of the city's 50 wards. If no candidate in the mayor's race reaches 50% of the vote, the top 2 finishers then will face off in an April 2nd runoff. A bus driver is charged with driving while intoxicated following a crash in Gary, Indiana that injured 4. State police say the bus was owned by Jesus Saves Missionary Baptist Church in Gary. It veered off the toll road, crashing into an embankment near the Klein Avenue exit. The bus driver, Wilton Carr, booked into the Lake County Jail in Crown Point. Jill Morgenthaler, a retired Army colonel who was Illinois' Homeland Security Chief under disgraced former Governor Rod Blagojevich and a 2008 Democrat challenger to Representative Peter Roskam, died on a scuba trip Saturday in the Dominican Republic. Ms. Morgenthaler had a pulmonary embolism about 15 years ago, and according to her daughter, Jamie, she suspects that may be what happened while she was diving this time. A teenager is accused of selling phony parking permits to students at a high school in Palatine. Christian Zukowski was arrested earlier this month after he was caught manufacturing and selling the passes for $200 each at Fremd High School. The Bucks over the Bulls, 117-106. Blackhawks travel to play the Ducks tomorrow night. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, here is Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, auto parts store and repair chain AutoZone is reporting a strong holiday quarter. Its sales and earnings were better than Wall Street expected. Chief Executive Bill Rhodes says every year the winter quarter is challenging because it's traditionally the year's lowest sales and can be impacted by weather. J.M. Smucker's sales and earnings improved over the holiday quarter. In addition to its Smucker's products, it also makes Folgers coffee, Crisco, and Meow Mix. Sales rose 6%. Its coffee and foods business improved. Its retail pet food business was weaker. Aurora Cannabis is expanding in Europe. It's buying Gaia Pharma of Portugal and will produce medical cannabis and other products there. The business will be renamed Aurora Portugal. It's also building a new facility which will be completed in the fall of next year. Home Depot reported a weaker than expected quarter. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder is watching.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer. A good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport. You need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
If you maintain an industrial plant, you know your dust collection systems are a vital part of the operation of your plant. Without them, things can get dusty quick. And when your dust collection system malfunctions, the downtime can cost your plant money. Time to call the professionals at Vans Industrial for help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. At Vans, we work with many different types and sizes of dust collectors, from 1,000 CFM to 100,000 CFM. If your system needs housing repair, tube sheet, pulse valves, ductwork, or collection hoods, give us a call. Schedule an inspection today to keep things running smoothly and avoid costly downtime. And when you're ready for a new dust collector, we can design your system from the collection hoods to the stack for plants of all size applications.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
It is 8:08. Let's get a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Metro trains are not operating right now on the electric line due to problems with the dispatching signal system. Delays on the inbound Kennedy starting at Nagel. It's 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 40 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 43 minutes to O'Hare. Eden's 27 minutes, Lakewood to the junction. Outbound 36. Inbound Eisenhower. 52 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 43. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ride is 40 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, 90 to the merge, Bishop 426. What's on Tri-State, it's slow. The 83rd Street toll to 31st. That's the Reagan tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. But Reagan tollway heavy, Aurora toll 355. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and cold, snow and flurries, mainly later, accumulating a coating to an inch today, high 26. Snow at times tonight, a coating to an inch, low 22. Snow tomorrow morning, little or no accumulation, otherwise cloudy, high 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Flurries and 13 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're coming to you live from Signature Bank in scenic Edison Park. We're kicking off our 2019 Signature Bank AM 560 Business Tour, third annual. And joining us to talk a little bit about that. Fourth annual?
Fourth annual.
Well, you've been getting it wrong
How
all
long
morning.
How long have I been here?
You've been here for 4 years, going on your fifth.
Oh, all right.
Okay,
the fourth
so,
annual,
hey,
as I
the
was
fourth
saying,
annual.
Signature Bank Business Tour. Yeah. First year was sort of a trial run. I don't really count
I'm
it.
here to correct you.
Yeah, thank you very much. He is Kevin Bastuga, co-founder and executive VP of Signature Bank, the George Bailey of Chicago banking, as I like to call you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amicable banker.
So Signature Bank truly is my business bank. It's where I bank. And
Thank you.
And this has been your focus. This sort of was the great insight that you and your colleagues had. Is Chicago needs a bank for the owner operator, the inveterate entrepreneur in this city, manufacturing, but across sector.
Absolutely correct. So, we continue to grow, continue to focus on that part of what we call the, basically the lower middle market, focusing on owner-operators, family-owned businesses here in the city, really across the 6-county area, and, expanding a little bit outside of that footprint as well. The nice part about Chicago, despite some of the economic challenges, is that there is a large population of small businesses, and that population base has been a phenomenal job creator during this expansion. So it's something that we've been able to take advantage of as those companies expand. They need capital to expand, both in terms of hiring people and plant and equipment. And we've been there as a financing source and a depositing bank, and handle their cash management, treasury management needs, and try to be the one-stop shop for those owner-operators.
Well, how many, and it's sad but true, but how many small businesses fold within the first year? And how do you as a bank try and help them? But you can't, you can only do so much.
Yeah, so, it's a tough balance with smaller companies that, reach a certain revenue size and think that they, can go to a bank and get capital. Really, in startup mode, it's tough for a bank to provide bank debt, because that initial risk is more appropriately funded with equity from the owner. So we're not really funding startup companies, and there's not many senior debt provider large banks that are providing startup capital that's more appropriate for the VCs and the private equity players. But once a company is established over a few years and has a couple years of financials and some validated performance, that's normally when we step in on the lending side. We're happy to bank those companies from the get-go in terms of providing them deposit products.
Well, I have some good news for you. Nobody's starting a business in Chicago, so you don't have to worry about it. So for the 5th annual Signature Bank Business Tour, will we be doing this in Hammond next year? When do you follow the business expansion that you're underwriting to the actual cities that they're expanding to?
So, it's something that's a constant concern for us is, we see some of our larger clients looking toward the borders, both south and north. And the companies that have moved specifically up to Wisconsin, some of the feedback that we're getting, I just talked to an owner last week for a deal that we just closed. Labor is the issue, so these companies are pouring over the border, but then they're experiencing, a labor shortage because there's so many companies that have moved up there and are trying to staff up. So each move has its own challenges. The state certainly has its own challenges. Governor Pritzker is in a very unique position to do what he said he was going to do and try to start to right this ship.
Mm-hmm.
But the owners and customers that we speak to, the overarching concern is this pension overhang. It's to as an owner, look at the landscape and have the thought that I'm going to continue to risk my own capital, my family's capital, my shareholders' capital to expand business and create jobs for the right of being taxed at an increasing rate in perpetuity, both at the corporate level and at the personal level, is a message that really doesn't play that well.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I'd be interested, too, like what you hear from clients when they see sort of the corporate C-suite types, like the Civic Committee of the Commercial Club, like the Chicago Fed, propose, as the Chicago Fed did, a dedicated property tax increase to fund pensions over the next 30 years, propose, as the Civic Committee of the Commercial Club did, all the Fortune 500 CEOs, some of whom are no longer Illinois residents, by the way, but proposing an increase in the state and the personal and corporate income tax. How do your clients respond to that?
It's I'd say that image is pretty rejected because, again, we're dealing with owner operators that maybe the owner sits in his office for 6 hours a day, but he's also out walking the plant, and he knows every single person, every machine operator, down to the janitor and building engineer that works for him. So that's just not, that's our client base. And these people are doers. They are not insulated from their business. Their personal wealth is affected by those decisions. And we sort of have a special place in our heart for those folks that, as we have done, put our personal capital on the line, created a lot of jobs, created a lot of opportunity for a lot of folks. So to have people at the commercial club who sort of are flying at 50,000 feet saying everybody should just be willing to pay more, is a message that's generally rejected. As you guys have both talked about on the show a number of times, as bankers, we see a lot of businesses. And when we see businesses that want to fix a problem with more revenue instead of managing expenses, that's a little bit of a red flag. And that's exactly what's happening with the state and has been happening for 20, 30 years, right? So it's
Why
a concern.
Why don't you run for office in 4 years?
I'm having too much fun at
Governor
the bank.
Bastuga. Huh? Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe like park board, something, get your feet wet.
Well, I mean, something with a pension.
Of course, exactly. Why shouldn't you get cut in?
Exactly, right. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mention how knowledgeable your clients are, the bank's clients are, about the unfunded pension liabilities and the gathering storm, and they recognize that, as some politicians have said about businesses in Chicago, including a former governor, Pat Quinn, the people, those people, the businesses, those are the people with the ability to pay. So, they kind of feel like when it all comes crashing down and the math is sort of inexorable, they're going to be left holding the bag or taking the hit.
That's right. And this story has played out before in other municipalities, right? That this whole concept that those who can pay should be willing and should be really happy to pay. I think that wave is starting to crash on shore. The pension overhang needs to be dealt with. I think in this last election cycle, albeit with J.B. Pritzker being elected, I think it was elevated a little bit as an issue, and certainly the work that you guys have done and other people have done in terms of raising awareness on property values. Was just looking at stats the other day. The property values in Chicago are still rising. However, our downfall lagged the rest of the country to begin with. So if you look at the stats across the rest of the country, residential home prices have started to downtick. So I expect that to happen here in the next 2 quarters. And once we get that situation where property values are downticking, but you see people's property taxes going the other way, right, I think it just forwards the issue to the next level, right? It just becomes a message that resonates louder and louder, and something that can't be ignored. I mean, people don't have unlimited funds, and to in perpetuity dish out more and more in terms of property taxes, it's just untenable.
What sectors, in terms of the businesses that you serve, what sectors are still popping up pretty robust in Chicago Metro, and which are on the wane?
We're seeing pretty strong performance across our portfolio. In terms of, I think that stuff is most visible in manufacturing. We're not seeing it yet, but with the different inputs in terms of labor, raw materials, maybe some of that raw material is imported. Stuff that's going on with the tariffs creates some issues. Typically we start to look for weakness in manufacturing companies when the inventory is sticking around a little longer, the accounts receivable, are being stretched a little more, and payments get stretched. So you start to see the beginning of those stresses just with little indicators. And I really don't think this next downturn, when it happens, is going to be as severe and deep as the last one, but I think it is going to be felt sort of wide swath.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of going to be, it feels like sort of like the midterm elections. It's not going to be a wave. It's going to be a tornado. It's going to touch down worse in some places and not at all in others, based on just the way states are managing their own affairs.
Right. You know, it's interesting with the political cycle with President Trump toward the end of last year, deciding that, he should publicly go after Fed Chairman Powell, which is definitely a departure from presidential decor in the past.
Yeah.
But, the interesting part about that is he was going after Powell when the market was, sub 22,000 in the Dow. And I'm not saying there's a cause and result here, but Powell and the Fed did back off of, their planned 3 rate increases this year. I think at one point there was 4 rate increases priced into the futures market. So he did back off of that. It's certainly the tone at the Fed is a more accommodative policy. I think he's speaking today in front of Congress.
Yeah.
And, I read in the Journal this morning that his priorities or his message is going to be, steady growth, full employment, and keep inflation at or below 2%. And I think as time marches on with some of the challenges we have here in Illinois regionally, that's going to be a difficult task.
Yeah, I know with the Dow back up to north of 26,000, I'm really kicking myself that I have all my money in Bitcoin.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a cryptocurrency guy. He is Kevin Bastuga. He is the co-founder and executive vice president of Signature Bank, where we are broadcasting live in Edison Park this morning, kicking off our AM 560 Signature Bank Business Tour. Kevin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is going to be here soon, and it's the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Drugs are addictive and have side effects. Get off the drugs, get rid of the pain. You do not need to live with chronic pain. Let's repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst from an accident or pain that just develops. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the most respected and successful pain doctors in the world. Dr. Candido will work to find the source of your chronic pain and fix it. He teaches pain management around the world and has been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. So you get it. He's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialist will help you get off the pain medication and all of its side effects. You can get your life back. Drugs mask the pain, find the source, and fix it. Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with chronic pain. You can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info at mypainchicago.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Under current Illinois state law, you can lose your home if your real estate taxes are 8 months past due. 50,000 Cook County property owners learned that the hard way this year. People facing financial hardship can't afford to pay the taxes, can have their properties sold for a fraction of the value of the property. Ask your mayor, I would change that.
Paid for by Willie Wilson for mayor.
On Target, radio is back on AM 560. Every Sunday night at 9, Dave Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz discuss the red meat issues that affect your life. The Second Amendment, personal liberty, government intrusion. They'll also bring you the latest from the Washington and Springfield swamps. On Target Radio, Sunday nights at 9. Sponsored in part by Safer USA, a leader in firearms education and training. Hackett Equipment, makers of the finest gun range carrying bags. And Geekometrics, experts in data security.
Hey, like it or not, cold and flu season is here. And if you want to avoid getting sick, then you know what you need to do. Give your immune system a boost. And a great way to do that is with fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature. We're all busy, folks. You're lying to yourself if you're saying you're getting enough fruits and veggies in your diet. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies in a capsule. No preservatives, and it will help boost your immune system all winter long. Try it for yourself. I'm on it, and I'll let you know how it's doing. To get your bottle of fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature, go to balanceofnature.com, type Chicago in the promo code for 35% off your order, or call 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751.
AM 560, The Answer.
I'm so excited.
Dan and Amy, we're coming to you live from Signature Bank, kicking off our AM 560 Signature Bank business tour this morning in Edison Park. And it is Election Day in Chicago. We talked to Willie Wilson earlier. We're going to talk to Bob Fioretti, former alderman, candidate, at 8:38. But now we've got David Krupa. You remember David Krupa. He's the young man, the DePaul student, taking on Marty Quinn, Madigan stooge Marty Quinn for 13th Ward Alderman. And David Krupa joins us now. David, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, so what's going to happen today in the 13th Ward?
Well, we got a big day ahead of us. You know, we have expected Marty to get my opponent, all of his people out early. So what it stands is we have to win it here on Election Day in order to win the election. But thankfully, people who have waited until now are either undecided, maybe they haven't heard about the election. They're very easy to win over. So we're looking to win Election Day by big margins here, 60-65%. We're looking to win.
Well, what are you hearing from the people what are you hearing from people out on the street when you're talking to people and getting out the vote?
Well, from what I've been hearing from people who are outside the polling places, because I'm outside one myself, it's good. It's really good. The majority of people who are walking in already know about us. They're voting for us. That's good. I've had a couple of people who I happen to win over at the door. There's only been like one or two people who are saying, "Nah, I don't like you." So, so it's looking good.
Tell them I don't like you either.
So in the 13th Ward, for people not familiar, the Latino vote is substantial. And so, you know, Marty Quinn's an old Irish machine, Paul, and you've got potentially an opportunity if you can bring the Latino vote over to your side to support an outsider, yeah?
Yeah. You know, that's one of the things we've been campaigning hard for. We've been canvassing hard in the Hispanic areas of my ward for the past few weeks. We've been sending mailers. We've been hitting that area very hard. They don't like Marty Quinn. He's disserviced their communities for a long time. We just have to make ourselves a viable candidate, and I think we've done that pretty well. The only thing that I could ask for more is a couple more volunteers. We don't really have the operation that we would have liked to have out here. We're trying to get one person for every polling place, and I think if we can at least do that, we'll have some good numbers.
All right, scramble the volunteers to head down to the 13th Ward and help out the DePaul kid, for goodness sakes. So if people want to volunteer, how do they do so? Who do they call? Who do they email?
Well, they can call my office at 773-839-2727, or they can just head right down over to 5638 West 63rd Street, which is my campaign headquarters. My campaign director's in there. He'll set you up with a nice polling place. We'll be talking to people for as long as we can, and then, you know, after all this is over, have a nice election party at the office at 7 o'clock.
Hey, have you been staying safe? Any threats or anything recently?
Well, you know, these precinct captains out here at the polling places, they're not too kind to me personally. I haven't had any trouble with my other people with them. But I've actually got a security guard with me today, so don't worry about my safety. I'll be all right.
Well, I mean, only in Chicago.
Right.
Can you run for alderman? You need a security guard. Stay safe.
He is David Krupa. He's trying to pull off one of the great upsets in Chicago political history, were it to happen, running 13th Ward Alderman against Marty Quinn. You've got the details if you want to help him out in the between now and 7 p.m. David, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck today.
Thank you. Everybody go vote.
Yep, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we're going to level up to the mayor's race and talk to former Chicago Alderman Bob Fioretti, who's in the studio at the bank with us, about his prospects tonight. That's at 8:38.
But first, let's head straight back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Gray skies, 13 degrees. We've had some snow flurries across the area this morning, and Election Day in Chicago. Polls close at 7 p.m. 14 candidates running for mayor, city clerk, city treasurer, and alderman up in each of the city's 50 wards. President Trump's former personal lawyer and so-called fixer is arriving on Capitol Hill to face grueling days of testimony. He goes behind closed doors with the Senate Intelligence Committee today. President Trump has landed in Hanoi ahead of his second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana says it's best to be patient right now.
I'm not expecting anything dramatic. I hope we make progress, but this is going to be more of a marathon, in my opinion.
The summit is a follow-up meeting to their original meeting in Singapore in June. A Pennsylvania mother and daughter are accused of killing 5 family members, including 9-year-old twin girls. Bucks County District Attorney Matthew Weintraub this morning updated the arrests.
I wish I had better news to report, but this is important, so we wanted to come out here at this point and make sure that everybody knew that the people that committed these atrocious acts are now in custody and will be made to pay for their crimes.
The suspects are 45-year-old Shannon Decree and her 19-year-old daughter. Several are hurt following a crash involving an ambulance on Chicago's north side. That ambulance was transporting a patient with emergency lights on in the 2900 block of West Granville. Both drivers, a police officer and a patient, were hospitalized. A bus driver charged with driving while intoxicated. It involved a crash in Gary, Indiana that injured 5. The bus was owned by Jesus Saves Missionary Baptist Church in Gary. They were on their way back from a Bulls game when the bus swerved off the road and into an embankment near Klein Avenue. The bus driver, Wilton Carr, was booked into the Lake County Jail in Crown Point. No one in custody after a 17-year-old boy was shot and killed near a Chicago high school. It happened last night in the 4400 block of West Addison. Shooting happened a short distance from Schurz High School on the northwest side. Chicago sports, Bulls fall to the Bucks at the United Center, 117-106. Spring baseball, Sox and Giants in a 4-all tie. Sox and Royals later today. Cubs welcome the Diamondbacks today with Yu Darvish on the hill. College hoops in the ACC, Notre Dame lost to Florida State. The news service of Accountemps, finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge. Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right persons for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says we can learn from the fake beating case.
The damage that this guy caused with this horrible, horrible accusation. If we haven't learned anything, we should learn that the media better stop jumping to conclusions. We need to stop jumping to conclusions. Everybody needs to stop jumping to conclusions. We need a wake-up call.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The auto show is here, and that means the lowest prices of the year at Joe Cotton Ford. Saving you money, real money. Thousands of dollars is what we're about, and our auto show specials will prove that to you. Like these. New 2018 Ford Focus SE, save $71.21, now just $13,999. Or the all-new 2019 Escape SE, save $6,000, just $21,495. Brand new 2018 EcoSport SE, save $5,000, just $18,995. Or get 0% for 72 months. And check out the all-new 2019 Ranger. It's a beauty, in stock at great prices. Come see why we're Chicagoland's best Ford buying experience. It's our promise to you. We'll treat you great and save you money. From 3 generations of our family to yours, you have our word on it. At Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream or at joecottonford.com.
Stock numbers 5043, T9063, T8575 through 2/28/19. All prices plus tax, title, license, and dock fees. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time. So you can haul gravel, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. And now get a 1 Series for just $99 a month at your nearest participating John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere 1 Series for more. 0% annual percentage rate. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
Rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000 right now, because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
8:37 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Metro Electric trains have delays after problems with the signal system. The Eden's inbound delays start at Dundee. It's 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 36. Kennedy, 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 40 from Montrose. 38 to the Express. The Eisenhower's 58 minutes. 390 to downtown. 43 from Mannheim. Stevenson, 55 minutes. 355 to the drive. Ryan, 40 minutes. 95 to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes. 90 to the Burns. Bishop, 426. Westbound Tri-State delays. The Mile-Long Bridge most of the way to 31st. The Reagan Tollway most of the way to Balmoral. The Reagan Tollway heavy from the Aurora Toll to 355. The northbound Veterans Memorial, 75th to Ogden. Army Trail to 290. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, we should see cloudy and cold conditions today. Occasional snow and flurries. High of 26. Currently 14. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me
Top of the morning, Dan
and
and Amy
invited
coming to you
to join
live
me
from
tonight,
Signature
starting
Bank
at
in Edison
7,
Park,
right
kicking
here
off
on
our AM
AM
560
560.
Signature Bank business tour this morning. Be making our way around to different businesses in the Chicago metropolitan area this spring. And President Trump has just arrived in Hanoi. And former Chicago Alderman Bob Fioretti has just arrived here with us in the bank.
We're here we are.
What a comparison.
Right.
Bob is run for Cook County Board President. He's a candidate for mayor on the ballot today. Bob, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
My first question, because he is a musical idol of mine, is explain in detail your relationship with Buddy Guy. You got $500,000 from Buddy Guy, who's the greatest blues musician who ever lived right here in Chicago. And I'm a frequent patron of Legends, and I want to know the relationship.
Well, the next time you're coming in, say hi to me.
Will I get VIP treatment?
I
Will I get
may have to be
VIP
at the
treatment
door.
at Legends?
I may have to be at the door handling it.
I want to be behind the velvet rope at Legends. No,
Right.
it's a Buddy Guy. That's a kind of a cool, interesting relationship.
I knew him
apparently.
before I was elected. I had when I first won as alderman, I had my victory party there. We've talked a lot about the city, about where the direction of the city is going, what's wrong with the city, how to help small businesses, how to help the blues community, music community, artist community, and we agree 90% of what we talk about.
Yeah, and he had a fundraiser for you the other day.
Yeah, we had over.
I'm sorry you weren't invited.
Yeah,
I am
over
sorry.
400 people, 450 people actually showed up, and it was a great fundraiser. So, and he and Bobby Rush not the congressman. I can tell that look on your face.
Sure.
What?
So,
Did I miss something?
right.
And do you, like, he does blues guitar and you do the harp, or what, how does that work?
Well, I sort of faked it because my musical talents don't go that far.
All right, very good. Well, give us your closing argument why Bob Fioretti for mayor today.
Well, I think I distinguish myself from all the candidates. I've got the integrity. I've got the experience. I know this city. I'm surprised at what I hear. We hear more, basically, tax and spend of people in the city of Chicago. So coupling it with what we hear in Springfield, that becomes a recipe for disaster of the people of the city of Chicago and of our region. So I believe if we do it the right way, how we can make things move forward and what we need to do, and growing our tax base is critical. And I've said that for years. And I brought 8,000 jobs to my ward when I was the alderman. I brought new businesses to my ward and employed people from the ward and kept people in the city, and that's what we need to do when I'm the mayor.
You know what I appreciate about you? You never took the Republican vote for granted. I mean, you had 135,000 Republicans voted for President Trump in 2016, and you recently were endorsed by Log Cabin Republicans.
Honored about that, too. Yes, I was very surprised, on the endorsement, and so because I do believe in inclusiveness. And that's what makes the city great. So, yeah.
So what is your plan to cut spending but increase revenue?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways that we can cut spending. One of them that I proposed was the grid system. And the grid system that we originally talked about would have saved the city $70 million. It's a way to pick up our garbage. It's a way to how we treat all of our areas, from tree trimming to you name it. In terms of what we see on the streets, rat control, the whole bit, would have saved about $70 million. But the way they did it only saved 20. So that's one of the ways.
But part of this goes to aldermanic privilege. And I know a lot of candidates talk about wanting to eliminate the feudal system and aldermanic privilege. But residents sort of like it, right? They can go to their feudal lord and get stuff done.
Well, supposedly. I bet you if you walk with...
Not me.
If you walk... Whoop, and...
I got it.
Hopefully we're still on.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Good. If you had 50 aldermen walking down the street, I bet, quite frankly, you would see very few would notice the cave-in of a sewer, graffiti, lights out. It really takes, and now everything's 311. And you see how long, I try to see how long it takes for, in areas of the city, a repair work that goes past. And I wait before somebody calls 311. The aldermen don't do it. It's the residents that have to do it and to improve their own community. And then you got to see how long it takes from that call before something is repaired. Driving around this city, I hear everybody, all of the candidates are talking, it's all the streets on the south and west side that have potholes. Well, they ought to start going around the rest of the city.
Yeah. I mean, I was recently at 101st and Ashland, and those neighborhoods over there are beautiful. They're clean.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no stuff on they did street sweeping. We're on the north side. We haven't had a street sweeper. Right. I can't even remember the last time.
Right.
And it's piling up. And then there's a hole, that goes down about 2 feet that you call and doesn't get repaired.
Part of the reason I called for a real true grid system way back in 2010 was because, the 33rd Ward had 12 garbage trucks. My ward, the second ward, only had 3. And it took a half hour from the crew to be picking up to go to from when they leave the yards to pick up the crews to get, and then another 45 minutes to get to the first location on Mondays to pick up. That's a waste of time. So, we really have to reconfigure what we do. And government needs to be rethought all the way across the board here. And getting rid of aldermanic privilege is one way.
So big labor versus big finance, that's Preckwinkle versus Daley. Big labor wants a city income tax, wants a LaSalle Street tax. Big finance wants an increase in the state personal and corporate income tax, tax retirement income. Are you in either camp?
No. Everything you just said, I think, will further push out people. I mean, the transaction tax, what are we talking about? I don't know if any of them, but I did sit down with the whole board from the Board of Trade. I think it was probably at 09, 10, and they said they were all against it, and they could move with in a heartbeat. And of course, now all the trades are done on your phone.
Right.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
And I was once in favor of progressive tax. I will tell you that. I've looked, though, at what's happening to Illinois, and we can't do that. People will just pick up and move. A lot of the businesses, I hear it. And again, I do not know who these candidates are talking to, whether it's the residents of this city, which they are not, or businesses, especially the small businesses. I've heard it over and over. They're going to move. And go down, and again, some of the other candidates, all the vacant locations of businesses are on the south and west side. I always say, come on with me down Clark Street, Lincoln
Look
Street,
at Lincoln.
Devon,
Oh, my
even.
gosh. Lincoln Avenue is just shuttered.
I was on
business after business that's closed.
And, I think historically we all know where the Valentine's Day Massacre occurred, right up there on 2400 Clark.
Yeah.
You go up and down that street to Fullerton, and there's 10 businesses that are closed.
I only go up there to go to the oven grinder now.
Oh.
Yes. Or Gayha's.
Yeah.
I take my wife there, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's good, too. We just talked to Kevin Bastuga from Signature Bank, and he's talking about the owner-operator businesses that this bank serves. And he said what their preeminent policy concern is what politicians, both at the state and the city level, are going to do about unfunded pension liabilities, because they see the gathering storm and they see themselves as the ones that are going to take the hit. So what about that? And generally speaking, and what specifically about the prospect of bankruptcy? I know that's the B word, but Detroit did it and has come out better for it. Bankruptcy can reorganize and provide the path for rebirth, can it?
The answer in the state of Illinois is no. It can't be done.
But city?
No, Illinois cannot. Illinois will not permit a city, a municipality, to do that. Now, under the, and I think it was for the last 2 years, I've been meeting monthly with pension experts, people that have dealt with all the bankruptcies across this country, all 16 of them, the counties, the municipalities, and on the discussions that we can have. Maybe we can't go into bankruptcy, but we can go into a de facto bankruptcy and not pay the bills. Not even a receivership, because under the bankruptcy, the federal bankruptcy code, I think there's 3 requirements. One, an enabling statute. We don't have that, and it will never be passed in Springfield. Secondly, you have to show that you are really insolvent. Now,
that's easy.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think
no,
that
it's
should be
not.
hard.
No, it's not, because we have so much other revenue. And don't forget, the Supreme Court here said, oh, yeah, you know what you can do? Raise taxes. Well, that's a death knell further. And then third, you have to begin negotiating with your creditors in good faith. Well, given the politicians that are on those boards, that's never going to happen. So, the fact that and it's been thrown around on the bankruptcy issue by a couple of the candidates, and it just won't happen here. We don't meet any of the requirements.
Well, but I mean, the flip side is you wait for one of the pension funds, most notably police and then fire, to capsize. And that's not going to be a good situation either.
Right. No. And I agree with you. And so that's the problem that we're faced with. But the other problem is we have these TIFs that are drawing off so much money on the top. Don't forget, 2 of the candidates that are running here now were advocates. They don't want to admit it, but 10 years of taking pension holidays, which created part of the problem. The downturns, giving out money to the Daley family. What did they lose? $53 million. They took $9 million in commissions, and then he gives his uncle a $25,000 contribution recently. There's no control over it. That's the real problem. And who's getting the shaft? The taxpayers, the residents of this city. And I mean the residents, because most of our real estate property taxes go into other means and not for where they should be directed to.
What's the most in your own opinion, the most transformative idea you have as part of your platform, the idea that would have the greatest amount of impact immediately?
Well, I think, first of all, we, again, as I said, we need to bring back in business and redevelop our neighborhoods. Under the Tax Act that was passed, and I started talking about it, and then all of a sudden we got 4 or 5 candidates talking about it, are the economic opportunity zones, the 133 of them. That is developer monies that will come into our neighborhoods. And the developers, not like a TIF money, the opposite of TIF, which is everybody who's a resident of the city of Chicago pays into the TIFs. But in these economic opportunity zones, these tax incentives that are provided for give federal incentives, federal tax cuts over a long period of time. And they provide affordability, development without displacement, medical centers, commercial corridors, and if they overlap a TIF, it'll be phenomenal. Again, a lot of the candidates have never looked at a TIF map, and they go all the way around the south side and west side, and they could be utilized to economic development.
On the personnel side, you have to do something with city personnel, right? You got, number one, you have 35,000 city employees, you have 47,000 retirees. That doesn't work. But number two, you've talked in your commercials about adding more police officers. Why does Chicago need more than 12,000 police officers when LA has 9? And LA is a bigger city, and it's more spread out.
Well,
and it's safer.
And it's safer.
Well, it is spread out, it is safer, but there's a lot more other issues that attract the here in Chicago. We are the global center for human trafficking. We are third in human trafficking. Human trafficking undermines our police enforcement. 25,000 acts of prostitution a day here in this city.
And that's before Bob Kraft comes to town.
Exactly. I was just going to say.
Too soon, man.
Yes. And you look at it, even at the Super Bowl, they arrested a whole series of sex traffickers. Think about what's happening here. It undermines our law enforcement. We are the amount of illegal guns that come in, and we don't enforce the laws that are on the books. At the same time, the drug trade is unbelievable in our neighborhoods, and I had to crack down some heroin ones because when I was elected, I from Bronzeville to South Loop, West Loop, all the way out to East Garfield Park, and I saw areas that one time my streets and sand guy were going down picking up the garbage. They got to a location to cross. All of a sudden there's a free open air drug market. It was a free day. They pass out drugs.
Well, they said hooked,
and they couldn't get by, so they started, and hundreds of people gather at these things. You see them sometimes.
It's like a scene from The Wire or something.
It is, and they started backing up. Well, at the other corner, another gang was doing it. They were stuck for an hour and a half. They didn't tell me until the end of the day. I would have said, I would have called the commander immediately, but they were stuck there. They couldn't move because of what was happening. Our drug trade on some of our communities, and you know what? They come in from the suburbs. You see the cars. You see who's driving them. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He is Bob Fioretti. He is on the ballot today for mayor of Chicago. He'll probably be coming to a polling place in a neighborhood near you throughout the day between now and 7 o'clock when polls close. Bob, thanks for joining us, and good luck
today.
Good to
be here. Thank you. And get ready for Fioretti and Punch 35.
Get ready for Fioretti. That
it
basically
rhymes.
rhymes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's good. All right, I like that.
Good.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Buddy Guy must have given you that one.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You've spent a lot of time and energy getting everything perfect with the planning and construction of your new property, but something's still missing. The interior and exterior of the structure turned out as planned, but there's still something you may not have even thought of until now. And it makes a big difference. The landscape. That's where AM Woodland Design makes the outdoors come alive to put that final detail on your build. Whether you're a commercial developer or custom home builder, AM Woodland Outdoor Design will put the finishing touches on your properties to make a complete and flawless presentation that will impress. As always, the expert team at AM Woodland Outdoor Design will guide you through every step of the process and provide quality service with integrity and reliability every time.
A.M. Woodland Outdoor Design, proudly serving Lake, Northern Cook, and Kenosha counties, helping make the communities they grew up in as beautiful as they can be. Visit amwoodland.com, that's amwoodland.com, or call 847-224-2167.
Did you miss the open enrollment this year? I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan at any time that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other carriers. If you're over 50 and are covered by the Affordable Care Act, you're paying for maternity coverage every month whether you want it or not. In Chicago, the least expensive PPO health insurance plan under the ACA will cost $572 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $7,900 before your bills are paid at 100%. I can show you how to eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premium to $278 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before your bills are paid at 100%. That's a savings of $294 a month and over $5,000 with my lower deductible. For a free quote and to see if you qualify, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
You're probably not thinking about back to school season right now. In fact, most parents with kids in school are more likely to be thinking about spring break. But now is the best time to think about where you'll be sending your son or daughter to school this fall. It's a big decision, and you may have felt like private school simply wasn't in the budget for your family. Well, think again. We want to tell you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find local private schools from across Chicagoland that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price with no catch.